Good evening, everyone. I'm Joseph. I'm Archie's brother, who you'll meet later on in the podcast. I've been watching wrestling for the best part of 26 years. Started on WCW and WWF into WWE, and I've really found my passion for it again in the last 4 years.
Hi everybody, my name is Archie. I'm Joe's brother. I've been watching wrestling since 2002. Grew up watching Monday Night Raw, and I'm pretty sure I haven't missed an episode in about 20 years. I think out of us four here, I'm the one who's expanded the most with what my variety of wrestling is. I watch anything that's New Japan or AAA, even big AEW fan at the moment, even though WWE will still always be the number one in my heart.
John?
Hey guys, my name is John. I've been watching wrestling for the past 21, 22 years. I watched WWE religiously week in and week out. And then obviously the last couple of years was tough to watch, but thanks to Triple H being back in charge, I got back into it. I also used to watch TNA religiously from 2007 to 2010. And then apart from that, they were the two shows that I watched over the years.
Yep. Hi, my name's Cameron. I've been watching wrestling since the mid-90s, watching it growing up as a WCW kid. Grew into the Attitude Era and watched it a bit on and off until religiously around 2012, 2013, once it started picking up with the WWE Network. Been watching it religiously and, yeah, like to critique it as I go.
Oh, that's cool.
You want to introduce yourself again? This new recording.
Was it? Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Joe. I'm Archie's brother. Been a friend of John and Cameron for around 5 years now. Started watching wrestling in 1997, WCW. Also keep an eye on the WWF, and obviously when the buyout happened, went over to WWF, which became WWE. And I've really found my love for wrestling again in the last 4 years or so, and I think it's been a lot more enjoyable to watch. Looking forward to talking to you guys and experiencing a lot along the way.
A little backstory with all four of us. We tend to watch it weekly with each other while we smoke Agile or Hookah for the American viewers. We usually like to critique it, see how we go with the writing, the creativity in the shows, and to see what they're doing with whoever's on the roster. And yeah, we'll be reviewing each show, each main event, maybe have a bit of a laugh, and maybe do a little tipping comp during each pay-per-view as we go. Yeah. I think we start off with when we might as well review Backlash that happened this past weekend.
Yep.
First match would have been Bayley versus Io Sky.
Bianca Belair versus
Belair versus Io Sky for the Raw Women's title. Sorry.
Yes.
Archie, what was your thoughts on the match?
It was hard to gauge. Since Puerto Rico, I was not expecting the crowd to be like that. Like, I knew they'd be hot for maybe Bad Bunny, maybe Cody and Brock, but I didn't expect, like, the crowd to play a part in cheering for the villain in the women's opening match. That was something great to see. But I think it smartens up. It shows maybe Io is the breakout star that is going to break out from Damage Control.
Yeah.
And once again, Bianca she's probably the best talent women-wise since Charlotte Flair. Yeah. It was a really good, entertaining opening match, and the crowd just made it even hotter.
Yeah, I completely agree, John.
Yeah, I agree with all that as well. And I'm still shocked that the crowd turned on Belair and cheered for Io Sky, because everywhere Belair goes, the fans go crazy for her, and she's probably the most popular women's star they've got on the roster next to Becky Lynch. And maybe the fans turning on her to cheer for Sky maybe just proves that the fans want to see somebody different as champion for once. Like, as good as Belair is, it probably is a good decision. Have somebody fresh in there, maybe to freshen up the title scene.
Jay?
I'll have to join in the sentiments of Archie and John there, because I've got a bit of egg on my face. It was only last month at WrestleMania I said she's the Bianca Belair I'm talking about is the epitome of John Cena. because if Asuka couldn't beat her then, there's going to be no hope for anyone else. I'm thinking she's that universally loved and everything. Take into account the Puerto Rico crowd. I've got to go back and actually see the match again to see exactly how much of it was just cheering for the heel rather than booing Bianca. I know there was a bit of booing of Bianca. I don't think it was tremendous. Examples that come to mind: Brock and Rock, SummerSlam 2002, Roman Reigns in his various adventures before the Bloodline gimmick. I thought it was a fantastic match and certainly came along with that. And by the end of it, you saw it and saw Becky, Bailey and Dakota try to interfere and end up arguably not letting Io concentrate and probably cost them the championship. So I think we'll see a turn there. But I think at the moment Bailey's in a bit of holding pattern herself to see what she's doing, and if that's the end of the connection with the dark shadowy figure just arrived on the podcast. If that's the end of the connection, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Bailey, but I still think she's got a lot to give and her charisma is immense. Cameron?
I think me and you were on the same page at Mania where we thought no one's going to stop Bailey anytime soon. But what about when is Bianca's time to get dethroned?
Well, is it up there with when's it Roman's time to get dethroned? It's getting there.
Yeah, it's been just over a year now.
I will say one thing. It would be interesting if Backlash was this weekend instead of last weekend, since just over 24 hours ago, Bianca Belair became the longest reigning modern era women's champion. Yeah. So I think that's something they wanted to break a record of.
But the funny thing is they didn't really give it much fanfare. Like even her holding the title for 1 year, they never really mentioned it until Belair herself mentioned it.
It just went under. It just went under the radar.
Like they never spoke about it compared to what they did with Roman's title reign.
Yeah.
Especially leading up to 1,000 days, it just never got the attention.
I think it juxtaposes probably something that we will talk about later with Rhea and how there was all that conjecture. Rhea was acting more like a face, getting cheered. Charlotte, the time was coming, all that with Bianca. But this has just thrown an absolute spanner in the works in a matter of weeks, if not a month after Mania. But I don't think it so much says a lot about Bianca rather than it does about Dakota and what's happening with Damage Control. I think that's the biggest storyline there. All right.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, though, with the match performance,
Tremendous.
It was a tremendous match. I agree on that one. But there was one little botch. If you remember?
That's when Bianca went up?
No.
What happened?
Bianca was holding Io with one hand and dropped Io face first.
Yes, she did.
Yes, she did.
Oh, that must have...
You missed it.
Noticed that one, yeah.
No. So she was holding Io up with one hand.
Yeah.
And flexing a bit. And I don't know why, but Io must have lost balance while being held up.
Yeah.
And landed face first during the match.
Didn't pick up on
It was a pretty bad botch.
It was a nasty fall for Io Sky.
Oh,
yeah. Even the crowd was like, ooh.
Oh, I think I have to go back and look at that again.
So if we're going to give it a rating out of 5, Archie, you go first. What would you give it out of 5?
Hot opener, great crowd, 2 tremendous female performers. I'd have to give it 4 out of 5.
John?
Yeah, I'd agree with Archie. I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah. I'll agree on that one. 4 out of 5 too.
I'll finish it off and give it a 4 as well. Yeah.
There we go. 4 out of 5 for the kickoff for Backlash.
Not bad.
Actually, one thing I should add as well. Overall, the pay-per-view in general was amazing.
Yeah.
Especially to bounce back from that Mania
Night 2. Specifically.
Specifically.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, well, that's the thing. You kind of look back now, and I guess we've all got kind of that bit of taste.
Yeah.
Even though they've probably put every foot right since, and we'll get on to Cody and Brock later with the whole finishing in the middle of the ring thing. But it just goes to show how important a main event is, because there were so many great matches at Mania, but for all intents and purposes, they have been overshadowed. And we think about Mania now, 5 weeks. It's been 5 weeks
since
5
weeks,
yeah. Maybe 6, and we think, oh my God, how bad was that Mania? But then we go back and think, oh my God, that night 1 was the best, in my opinion, knee-jerk reaction, the best single night since they went to 2 nights. And arguably night 2 had a lot of highlights as well.
Well, I will say, obviously we take away that what eventually happened at the end of night 2. I think what WWE have done in their first 5 pay-per-views of the year, they have been on fire.
Arguably going
They
back
have
to...
had a great start to the year.
Sorry, Arch, to cut you off, but arguably going back to the power transition between Vince and Triple H. Money in the Bank was fantastic. Survivor Series was fantastic. Extreme Rules.
Survivor Series, War Games.
SummerSlam was fantastic.
Yep.
Was SummerSlam Brock and Roman with the forklift?
Yeah, that was Triple H's first pay-per-view.
They were all
That's
great.
right.
They were all great. They were fantastic. So you can see it's not a coincidence there. It's obviously when someone took the reins officially, or someone wasn't around anymore, more to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's backtrack back to the 2 nights of Mania. Regardless of the decision of Cody and Roman, was it really that bad of a WrestleMania?
No,
Not at
definitely
all.
not.
Night 2 was great.
It was just a damper.
It was just a damper on what was a really good show overall, because a lot of the matches were really high quality, and people were just speaking about the ending like as if
Night 2, off the top of my head, was Rhea Charlotte.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
The Triple Threat Intercontinental match.
That was amazing.
The Fatal 4-Way men's tag team match as
Yeah,
well.
the men's show.
Yeah,
was-
that had
that
no
was-
right
that was-
being that good.
That was the show stealer.
That was night 1.
Was
That
it
was
the
women's
women's?
on the
The
night
women's was night 2.
Was it,
The
was it-
women's
yeah.
was
Women's
night 2.
was night 2,
Okay.
men's was night
But
1.
regardless, both of them were better than any right they had to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah,
'Cause I
women's
thought-
was night 2.
I
I think we got Edge and Balor night 2 as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was compromised
Yeah.
to a certain extent, but
Yeah.
there was nothing wrong there.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, I think the only downfall with the women's tag match was there was very little Ronda and Shayna.
And they just scooped up the win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But from what I've read up on the news or in reports, was Ronda's actually was wrestling.
Hurt.
Hurt.
Yeah, she
so they had
was
to
injured.
stay out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was injured for a while, so...
And it says something about a pay-per-view when it kicks off with John Cena losing in a very vanilla, no pun intended, vanilla match in 10 minutes. That could have been shown on Raw, except with the finish that John Cena losing.
Was that night 1 or night 2?
That was
night
night 1.
one.
The opener
It
for
was
night
night
As I
one,
said,
wasn't it?
open the pay-per-view itself, yeah.
You forget about it.
But like the
And that was very... Well, there are a lot more bumps in that match than he had in that tag team match at the end of the year
yeah.
on SmackDown, but still, it was very run-of-the-mill.
Just
But
there for
I
the
guess-
streak, that match.
I guess we've got to be mature about it, and that's what to expect from Cena.
And I think they just put Cena there just so you could put Theory over to help create a new star. And another ironic thing about it was Theory had to cheat to win the match, just like what John Cena did to Big Show all those years ago at Mania 20. He cheated to win his first title, the Steel Chain.
Do you want to have the next match, Ken?
Yeah, we'll go into the next match, which, speaking of show stealers,
Yeah.
was the one with no build up at all, which was Seth Rollins versus Omos.
Yeah. Once again, a match that had no right being that good.
Yeah.
And I think that even take away the crowd aspect of it, they could have performed anywhere in the States, anywhere else. It still would have been a quality match, would have got the crowd excited. Once again, Seth Rollins, probably the most over person in the business.
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's more over than Cody at the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a big call.
I just
It's
think
a big call, but at the moment, I feel like
he's got the
after the loss at Mania, Seth Rollins has got that bit up.
yeah.
Well, there was that Monday, not to jump ahead, but there was that interaction Monday Night Raw where Cody was there and then Seth came out.
That is still.
And was I the only one that expected Seth and Cody to shake hands or to hug?
Yes.
I thought
And
yes.
they really didn't. And Seth gave him that wave, I
Yeah,
think.
gave him like the funny
and
wave.
Cody just stood there standing. So that could be something there that we might see. But I think, once again, sorry, won't be a theme, but not to jump ahead, but I think if you told Triple H and whoever the executives were, Nick Khan and all of them, that 5 weeks after WrestleMania, with the finish the way it was and the way it was received, that Cody Rhodes would still be cheered like that on Monday Night Raw, they would be over the moon and they would take that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to continue with the match, Omos has, I think, the more pressure everyone pretty much puts on him, I think he's going above and beyond.
Yeah.
And it helps with a great worker like Seth Rollins,
Yep.
Yeah.
but I do believe Omos is carrying his own.
Yeah, I think he can carry his own. I think he needs to stop with the jobbers, the no-names on the
Yeah.
show, and start building rivalries with actual main roster people now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten to the point where he does need to start going up against more established stars and beating them, because he always seems to lose every major pay-per-view match he's in, and it doesn't do him any good if they want to keep using him long term.
And the addition of MVP with him we didn't know at the time, but that was much needed.
Yeah, he needs
A mouthpiece.
He needs a mouthpiece, especially with MVP being as good as he is on the
Just
mic.
don't let him talk and just let him conquer in the ring. I think he has, like, obviously he's dropped 2 big pay-per-view matches in a row, but I do think this is a turning point in his career going up. He's getting better in the ring. He's got MVP now backing him up. He can do all the talking with the promos now, and I'm sure he can carry feuds. I think it'll be a breakout year for him this year.
Yeah, I agree, because the thing is, he's a big man, but he doesn't look like the typical generic big man like Khali. Like, almost can actually move in the ring.
He's pretty agile.
He's pretty agile, and if you give him the right opponent like Seth, he can drag a good match out of you.
Of course. And it was a great way how they... Sorry, it'll be the last point. It was a great way how they made him look strong, but he still lost with a super stomp. I don't think Seth has ever used a super stomp in WWE before.
That was the first time.
Yeah.
Probably the first time he's ever used
So it's
it.
good to see about like that, to go think outside the box to have him be pinned.
Yeah, because especially with Seth, he's never really had big men to go up against besides Big Show, Kane, and all that.
Brock,
But
Yeah.
with Kane at the time, that was the corporate gimmick.
So he looked more human than he has been.
Same with Big Show, with the whole face and heel turns, constant.
Yeah.
They really humanized him. Same with Brock, where he was really humanized, even against almost like Mania.
Yeah, because that was a lovable Brock Lesnar character.
Yeah.
And I think that's, but yeah, besides that, I feel Omos is improving dramatically.
Yes.
Just maybe change the finisher. I'm not a big fan of his finisher.
I think he
A
needs
choke slam?
I think he needs a choke slam.
A choke slam or a double-headed one. Just not what he has now.
That's pretty much what he
Sorry,
does.
he had the choke bomb,
Yeah.
That's
but
pretty
then he
much,
moved to the choke slam.
he used the one time against Seth.
I wouldn't say no to him doing like the reverse choke slam where they land face first, like Braun Strowman did when he
Like a
first
face
debuted.
plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if he uses a jackknife powerbomb, something like that, just to move
that's
away from the choke bomb, because the choke bomb looks really weak.
Well, unless that's going to be absolutely the way he finishes, because Gunther has that as his finishing move at the moment, so...
Which one?
The powerbomb.
No, he got rid of that now.
I didn't...
It's called something else. I forgot the name.
Didn't he finish off at Mania with the powerbomb?
He did
He
powerbomb.
did,
Yeah.
but he's actually got a new finisher which he introduced in one of
After
his
Mania.
SmackDown title matches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called
Against
Final
Xavier
Symphony.
Woods.
Yeah, that's it. The Final Symphony.
That's okay. Okay, I didn't... I have to go back and watch that.
But
Yeah.
just quickly,
Sorry, go.
but with Gunther's powerbomb, it's not really like a jackknife.
No, it's just
like a normal powerbomb, but
Yeah.
he just quickly bridges them into a pin.
he puts a lot of power into it, into the drop.
Yeah,
That's what makes it look really good.
So that's why I think we almost let him use a powerbomb as well. Why not? It's better than a choke bomb.
Just Eddie Field named after a bomb.
Yeah.
I thought I was impressed by the match. I can't say I'm surprised, because once again, not to beat a dead horse, but I must have been the only one who thought that Brock and Omos match at Mania was going to be okay, and it turned out to be okay. It was in the hands of a very safe worker. I think with Omos, I see people make comments here and there, but I think the underlining factor with him is there's a lot of generic comparisons to Great Khali, and I think that's unfair. He moves better than Khali,
Much better.
wrestles better than Khali, and it's really unfair. And I think they've put the right people around him too. MVP, wrestling Brock at Mania, wrestling Seth at Backlash as well. So that match to me wasn't a great surprise how good it was. It was well received. Obviously the crowd did help with every match as well.
And let's not forget the kickstart of his career when he had the tag team with AJ Styles.
He did too. How could I forget that? So he's been putting in some absolute stalwarts of the game, very safe and very productive blokes who have been at the top of their game for a long time for a very good reason. In terms of Omos, sorry, Arch, go ahead.
Well, Styles before or after the ninja gimmick?
After.
So he first started with the ninja with Tozawa.
Yeah, with the whole 24/7 title.
In terms of having him not win or not go over the last couple of months, there's that whole adage of getting over without going over, which was brought about a long time ago. I wouldn't have had him beat Brock. I don't think I would have had too much of a problem with him going down to Rollins. However, if what it looks like now, Rollins is really in that new world title picture, I guess you couldn't have Omos beat him 2 nights before.
Yeah.
In terms of the finishing move for Omos, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a slam similar to the bookend, which was an inverted rock bottom where he brings the opponent up to his shoulders, obviously his height, and then slams him down. So something like that. I know you're a fan of the bookend, Cam. What do you think of that?
It would suit him. Even like how the Samoans use the Uranagi.
Maybe the Uranagi then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see a real power slam where he brings him up to his level, a la chokeslam. But I think the chokeslam just been so done. And the jackknife power bomb, I don't know, maybe I'm still a bit of a stifler, but always put that in with Kevin Nash. I don't think anyone, and I'm not the biggest fan of Nash's wrestling ability in general, but for me, Kevin Nash always had, even the last ride to me was still a bit of a wink, but to me, when I think of jackknife powerbomb, I only think of one wrestler, and that's Kevin Nash.
See, that's where I disagree. I always associate the powerbomb with the last ride. Always, because I grew up loving the American Badass
Does
Undertaker.
Does the last ride finish as a powerbomb?
Yeah.
When he puts him up, is it still counted as a powerbomb?
Yeah, it's just a raised powerbomb.
It's an elevated-
hands on the back of him.
It's in between a powerbomb and a razor's edge.
So jackknife's almost a throw. Once Nash used to get them up there,
He'd just drop them pretty
He'd
much.
throw them. He'd propel them.
You'll end up
Whilst
Big Show's
the
career.
Undertaker was more of a slam.
Yeah, where he
He'd go
elevated
down
them up
with them.
and
That's
then
why
slammed
I
them down.
think they never, and I don't know whether it was top of mind, but they never really. Did you guys ever remember them referring to as the last ride as a powerbomb? Because I think the finish, not to be technical, I think the finish of it was almost a slam. He'd slam them down, whilst Nash would propel them. But then you had the Batista bomb, which was again
sit-out.
Sit-down power
which was
bomb.
a sit down. So he'd kind of guide them. So it was all very different. And then you can argue,
Cade?
yeah,
Cade went down with these first.
yeah,
Did you-
and then
oh,
Kane had power bomb that mirrored a tombstone. Then you had Scott Hall, God rest his soul, and Sheamus with the outsider's edge and the Celtic cross, is it?
Yeah, Celtic
Which I always thought that was more of a wink at a powerbomb as well because of the way they started. I think anyone that starts their move like that, probably the 3 of the most iconic moves all start with somebody's head in between their legs. The pole driver, the pedigree, and the powerbomb.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I completely agree with that.
In terms of rankings, Arch, what would you give that match?
Solid match. Once again, a great worker with an improving worker. I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
John?
Yeah, I'd probably give it probably 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, and I think this was like almost his first big match where he lasted 10 minutes
Yes.
by himself.
Yep.
I
How
think
long did he last at Mania?
it was about 10.5 minutes.
Shorter, yeah.
At Mania, I would have been shorter.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it would have been shorter, but sorry, the Backlash match was 10.5 minutes.
Oh, good, yeah.
So for him to last 10.5 minutes, he did a better job than a certain someone in WCW that had 10 minutes with someone.
I thought this was going to be a nice
I don't want to
podcast.
name names.
I thought this was going to be a friendly podcast.
But yeah, he held his own for 10.5 minutes.
Whilst we're on the topic, let's go on the topic of William Regal's drug problems.
Is that recent?
No.
No.
That's how he got axed from WCW.
Oh yeah, it is too. I forgot about
Pretty
that.
sure that's how he went into business with Goldberg. He was drugged up.
You want to bring up old shit?
I think it was also his drug issues that stopped him getting a push in 2008 when he became King of the
No,
Ring.
it was. Welfare, in all honesty. It was.
Cam, what would you rate it?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'll give it a 3.5. You can even give it a boost up, even if we want to get technical, even like a 3.8. If we want to get very technical.
I'd give it a 3.5 as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. The next match was a pretty quick match for what we could have expected to be a bit longer, which was the United States title triple threat match between Theory, Lashley, and Bronson Reed. John, what was your thoughts?
Like I thought, even though it was a bit short, I thought it was a pretty solid match. Like you have Austin Theory being the cowardly heel, and then you've got Bronson Reed and Bobby Lashley, who still had to settle the differences from Raw the past couple of weeks, where they just wanted to beat the hell out of each other. And I don't know, it was like a pretty decently paced match for what it was. Like I just wish it could have gone on a little bit longer, so they could have told a bit more of a story. Maybe let Lashley and Bronson Reed beat each other up outside the ring, maybe use a table or something like that. But overall, I enjoyed the match.
I think going into the match, the sentiment was two nights before the draft started, you weren't really going to see Austin Theory. You never really thought Austin Theory was going to drop that title.
Yeah.
And obviously with the conjecture between Lashley and Reed, it added to it as well, and Theory as a heel. It reminded me of a Attitude Era match where you might have only had a slight build-up, but if you added a heel in there, there's Bronson. Bronson's technically
He's a heel.
No, he's a heel.
He's a heel. He's a full-blown
He's a
heel.
proper heel.
Bronson, I beg your pardon. Let's not put that up.
But let's categorize under a popular heel at the moment.
He's a popular heel.
He
I think
does
anyone
have
that
the
comes
crowd
up with
on his back.
NXT.
Yeah.
And sorry, hopefully this won't be a thing, but continuing on, I mean, can you imagine with what Bron Breakker's doing now in NXT? Are you telling me that crowd's not going to cheer him when he jumps the guardrail or he comes down on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown? Are you telling me that crowd's not going to cheer him?
I've been watching his post NXT takeover work with Carmelo Hayes lately, and he has absolutely turned it around with this heel gimmick he's been running with. I understand why they've kept him down there.
Actually, maybe it's true. I mean, remember Solo at... No one was exactly cheering Solo at Clash of the Castle.
When he made his debut.
Yeah, he did ruin the match for the hometown hero. Getting back to the match, I thought it was safe, very good. Once again, three blokes. I think Lashley, you almost feel a bit sorry for Lashley. Upside down with injuries, the whole thing with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
He was involved with what happened to Big E as well. He was in the title picture before, wasn't he?
No, Big E dethroned
Bobby Lashley with the Money in the Bank cash in.
Okay, but yeah. So I thought it was solid. Yeah, maybe with John there, you should have seen. Might have seen Lashley and Reed have a bit more one-on-one, but we do know Lashley has a championship qualifying match coming up.
Yep.
And Reed's on what show?
He's on Raw.
Reed's on what show? So he's on Raw, but you wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Bronson might make an appearance, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with before pre-draft, I should say. They've had this short rivalry with Bobby and Bronson, but does that continue on now that they're on a brand split?
I don't think so. I think they'll probably just...
I think it's ended there.
Yeah.
I think it ended last night, or the pay-per-view.
Because if Bronson does interfere and Lashley gets screwed out of the title picture now, then doesn't that just nullify the draft?
Yeah, that's probably more
Sorry?
realistic. I guess it was a bit of a wishful thinking on my behalf, but I'm a big fan of Bronson Reed. That's probably what I was thinking, but maybe it was just a filler. You almost feel a bit sorry for Lashley. It seems to be a new storyline every couple of weeks.
And same thing kind of goes with the OC and Viking Raiders having that little 2-week rivalry before getting drafted to separate shows. We won't see it again now.
It was probably a 1 week thing, if anything.
I guess not everything.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that having the OC come out and whack them. Like, if they're supposed to be taking faces, usually the faces are the underdogs or they have less in the stable.
Yeah.
It's not usually sit back and let my boys beat them up type of thing for a face.
I guess not everything can involve a 600-day title reign.
Yeah.
But with the rumours of Roman going up against Lashley, AJ, and there's a third person, I'm trying to remember the name now. There was a third person.
What was that, Cam?
There's rumours of Roman's next 3 rivalries is going to be AJ, Bobby Lashley, and someone else.
Solo?
No.
It wouldn't be Solo, just if they choose to go down that path.
There's what?
Seth.
No. You got to keep him away from Roman.
AJ.
There's
Bobby.
a rumour going on.
Maybe Austin Theory?
No.
Austin Theory? No?
No, it was another face.
Face?
Yeah.
Been
Not
drafted
Drew.
to Raw or SmackDown.
Actually, yeah, it could be Drew.
Is Drew drafted to Raw, SmackDown?
no.
Drew's on Raw. Yeah, that's
He's on
correct.
Raw, so I think he's the first contender for SummerSlam with
Yeah.
Rollins if it goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it was actually Omos. The rumor was Omos could be going up against Roman in the future.
Is he gone SmackDown?
No, he's a free agent.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
So he can appear
Yeah.
anywhere and everywhere he wants,
Yeah.
just like Brock.
Now I got sidetracked, but with the rumor of with the way AJ's back, he could be turning heel. Does that mean Roman could be turning face?
No, I don't.
I think you got to have him
It
drop the
is-
title as the heel,
Yes,
as the end game.
Yeah, but he has
It was
to,
like it's actually taken over the way Brock for forever was the 99 overall. You can never beat him, and
Yeah.
then Seth found a way to beat him at WrestleMania 35. But you have to do it in a more golden finish, not the opener.
It's got to be like a cleaner finish as well.
Yeah, it has to be the person who beats it who beats Roman has to be your face for the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Cam, what would you? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to get back to the match in general with the triple threat.
Yeah.
With the ratings, the match was just under 7 minutes. It was quick, impactful. I wish it could have been a bit more, but I still give it around the 3.5 mark.
Yeah, but I'd agree with that. I'd give it a 3.5. It was short and sweet. They got to the point. Switch went a bit longer.
Yeah, just a couple notes on it. I feel like I agree with you, Jay. Like Bobby's in this how do you call it?
Holding pattern.
Yeah, I think they put as we remember when Triple H started taking over those backstage segments where we saw the Hurt Business talking in the back with MVP. Yeah. I feel like that had to stop because we needed MVP with Omos still.
Yeah.
So I feel like they had to put the hold on that for now. Austin Theory, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think since the WrestleMania pay-per-view, the heat on him has gone down. I just think he's floating now. I think after beating Cena, he hasn't really
kicked on,
grabbed that and ran with it yet. But I don't know, it could change now with the draft, some fresh faces.
Yeah.
And Bronson Reed, that's another one who just needs to be kept very strong. Have him come out, beat 3-4 local opponents until a big SummerSlam match. And I'd give the match a 3 out of 5. Solid.
Theory is on Raw.
SmackDown.
Both mid-card champions got drafted.
And the women's swapped.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that because how are they going to swap the titles
the
around?
way Becky and Charlotte, was it?
I hope they don't go like that because that was bad booking.
It was horrible, dropping the belt.
It was bad booking, and what made it 10 times worse is that there was actual real-life heat.
And she just dropped the belt in front of him. There was no respect.
Who's the authority figure? Was it Raquel?
Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce.
Yeah, but who was the figure in the ring at that time? Sonya.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at that footage, Sonya tells her, pick up the belt, Charlotte. There was no mucking around there. If you go back and look at that footage, that wasn't part of the show.
Yeah,
tells her, pick up the belt, Charlotte.
Imitating real life.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit harsher on that match, the whole 7-minute mark, but I'd probably give it around the 3. I think to have 3 athletes like that, not a lot of storyline thrown together to a certain extent. I think it was safe, it was good, it was entertaining, it told the story, and probably take the term of what I said to Archie a couple of minutes ago there, it was the holding pattern match of the night. It wasn't going to be the match that really shaped the storylines going forward. Yeah. So maybe it was a bit of wishful thinking on my behalf, but maybe Bobby and Bronson will go their own ways. But like you said, Cam, it nullifies the draft, and I don't know, to resonate with Archie's sentiments, watch this space for Austin Theory, because you're going to have to find a very good mid-card face to challenge him.
So we'll let him rebuild some heat.
Or maybe that is where Bronson's going. Sorry, Bronson's on Raw.
Yeah, I have to have a look again at the SmackDown roster, who's there.
Maybe one of Imperium breakout.
They're on Raw.
I think maybe Riddick Moss. With the name change, I must have something planned for him.
No, they actually look at doing a heel turn for Riddick Moss.
Really?
Yeah.
No, just quickly.
Oh, because he'd be a great
A couple of weeks ago on SmackDown, he had the return match with Shinsuke.
Yes.
And he lost quickly, and he tried to attack Shinsuke, but Shinsuke got the better of him.
That's right,
yeah,
yes.
That's true. I forgot about that. Maybe he could do something with him.
Maybe it might be Rick Boogs. He might be the one to...
Oh.
He might be the one to... no, I'm just joking. I said that was not full of order. Let's move on to the next match before I have to go take a shower.
But going back to what you said about, with Theory possibly dying down with the crowd.
Yeah.
If you were a creator, how would you revitalise Theory?
I haven't really paid attention to if he has had many promos post-Mania. Has he brought up the John Cena?
The night after.
The night after, maybe the week after that.
See, that's
something
2 nights after, technically. Something, beating John Cena, it's something you got to put on the t-shirt. Finn Balor lost and he still put Finn 14 staples.
Well, my problem with Theory was, sorry to cut you off, Ash, but my problem with Theory was that the Raw before Mania, he shot a pre-done promo in the middle of empty arena, and they showed it.
That is to show he came from nothing, and he realised this is all or nothing. Him versus Cena. That's how much he's taken it seriously against him, because how much Cena undermined him in that promo.
Yeah, when Cena tore him to shreds.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah,
I guess
that's why
I just thought he could have been there, but the way Archie explains it probably justifies it to a certain extent.
Going back to what you're asking, Cameron, I think it's something he should have just been non-stop, in your face, just blab before a match. I beat John Cena. Then it gets in their head. Yeah. Wait, this guy's for real.
Well, that's the thing too, Archie. I mean, I beat John Cena. Yeah. Has that been watered down?
No, because look who John Cena has lost to.
Yeah,
he's elevated everybody.
But this is the John
Kevin
Cena.
Owens went on with it.
Yeah, but this is the John Cena who literally wrestled once last year and was on the last show of the year.
Yeah,
and maybe I've been a bit cynical because no one puts up Cena more than me. Onto another topic, he's arguably the best ever, but has it lost its merit? The whole I beat John Cena thing.
I don't really think so. Because
you just can't throw losses to him and not run with it. Like, I think whoever beats him has to make a big deal out of it. I don't think Austin Theory's done
Maybe
that.
I've been cynical about it.
He hasn't capitalised on it.
Just another quick thing, because when he said he could keep saying I beat John Cena, it's just like when Brock broke the Undertaker's streak.
Absolutely.
How many times did Paul Heyman mention it to draw heat towards Brock?
And he became the most dominant force probably ever in pro wrestling history.
If he wasn't already.
Exactly. That just tipped him over the edge. That's why I always support Brock breaking the streak. He ran on with it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, the whole 21-1.
It was still the most shocking moment I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What was the next match, Ken?
The next match was, excuse me, was a bit longer match. It was the SmackDown Women's title between Mami, Rhea Ripley, and Zelina. Zelina had a huge pop in that match, being in her hometown, in front of her friends and family. I think she got the pop that she deserved. But the match, thoughts?
Joe, do you want to go ahead?
I'll go, yeah. Obviously, overriding factor there was Selena, home country, amazing. Emotional. She was emotional before the match. You could see tears, or she was holding back tears at least. And then coming up against arguably the greatest enigma in women's wrestling in the last few years. Well, probably not arguably, she is Rhea Ripley.
Probably since Becky.
Probably since Becky. Talented, she's got the look, she's got the promo skills.
Ring skill.
The
ring
skill, amazing. She's a Grand Slam champion at such a young age as well.
She's done it all.
Thing is, and this was my sentiments coming into Mania, she ain't acting, when she was away from Judgment Day, she wasn't getting booed like a heel, she was getting cheered.
Yep. And
I guess WWE are really going ahead with the whole heel because they put her up against Selena Vega out of all people. And in terms, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, in what was the most decorated backlash in history. So that's one way to get someone being booed. Was it a safe way? I don't think. I do see, sorry to get away from the match for a moment, I do see a Rhea face turn coming. Maybe that'll come around the same time as what happens with Finn Balor and where they go with him, and then where that leaves Dominic. That's another story. Getting back to the match, I thought it was solid. No real surprises. You argue it might have been the ending was very just Rhea coming over the top of her, squashing her in the end to a certain extent, or is that a bit harsh?
I wouldn't say so, because it is her first title defense. She needs to look strong.
So you agree with the squashing to a certain extent?
To a certain extent. It gave. She had a bit of a run where Zelina looked like, there was a bit of hope.
Yeah.
But, to keep it short and to still keep Rhea dominant, I think it's the best result for her at the time. So she's going to be on Raw now. I'm just trying to think.
I think they got what they got out of. I think they got what they wanted out of the match on every level, because Selena got the reception before and after the match. It was a hero's welcome and a hero's farewell. Rhea, star of the women's division, in my opinion, up there with Bianca, was made to look very strong in a solid match once again. So I think they got everything they wanted out of that match, and they would have been very happy with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Just to carry on from what Joe just said there, Zelina Vega, especially the post-match reception, reminded me of Becky Lynch in NXT when she came up short against Sasha Banks in the NXT title match. The crowd got up and they cheered, albeit she was in Puerto Rico, but I think after that performance, because she's not known for her matches, because she's most of her career she's been a manager.
Correct.
Well, that was my sentiment too. She's really not known for her ring work.
No, so what she did in the ring was great, and it's hard to argue with Rhea Ripley not being the number one star in the women's division. I still think Bianca has more of the in-ring skill, but overall star, it's Rhea Ripley, and then there's Daylight. It was a great match. I would say it was a somewhat of a squash, but
Especially towards the end.
I feel like once again it was her first
Yep.
defense. She had to look strong.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, but I agree with everything that you guys just said, because it is Rhea Ripley's first title defense. In the end, she did have to look strong, especially with the ending. But at the same time, Zelina Vega got the crowd reaction that she really needed and deserved.
Great emotion.
Great emotion.
Great
that
emotion.
She herself showed, especially when she was making her entrance, and then the standing ovation she got at the end.
It was genuine.
You could tell it was genuine reaction. But Rhea Ripley's probably becoming a bigger star than Bianca Belair at this point, and they've got to keep her looking as strong as she is. They need her to be dominant, and that's what they did. So I think the way they booked the match overall was pretty solid. Like they couldn't have done any wrong, I think, with what they done there.
Yeah. I might add, I want to just say it's actually nice to see Zelina get a nice face push for once. She's been heel her whole career.
Yep.
I think she can thrive as a face, especially with her size and build.
Like an underdog.
Yeah. And the only thing I can complain about her is the resemblance to her with Sasha Banks at the moment.
Especially with the themed costumes.
Yeah.
Because Sasha was big with that. It still is now in
The
Japan.
hair.
Yeah.
That was my first
The
thought as well.
attire is so similar.
Yeah. Especially with the hair, it's just uncanny. Especially and like the color of them, they just look exactly the same.
And just another quick thing to add, the reception that she got at the end also reminded me of Sheamus at Clash of the Castle when he lost to Gunther. The reactions were very similar there.
Yeah, but honestly, in that case, WWE should still adapt to bringing pay-per-views to overseas, all over the world.
Yep.
Well, there's already talk that there's pressure backstage, especially from talent, to lock in Backlash at Puerto Rico.
Yes, that came out just yesterday or today.
Yesterday for the foreseeable future. That's massive.
And we got the rumour of a premium live event here in Perth.
Yeah.
I would gladly go to that if it came out here.
That's a lock-in.
Well, apparently Perth wanted WrestleMania, but they wanted Hulk Hogan, so somebody needed to get them up on the time difference there. But they have requested a WrestleMania. Forget about premium. A WrestleMania level event for Perth. I guess kind of Super Showdown 2018.
I think that's what they want to go around.
But I think with a lot more
meaning.
Storylines.
Yeah, like a full proper show.
Might be a paper.
But don't forget, what was it? A few years back when we did have Super Showdown here, I thought that was the start of a pay-per-view to be in a different country every year.
Yeah, we didn't know
It was canon.
Yeah.
It counted.
We didn't know it was a setup for what they planned to do in Saudi.
Yeah.
Because the Saudi pay-per-view was 1 month after.
Correct.
And we didn't know that was going to be 10 years.
Yeah.
Like a 10-year deal.
Yeah.
And also just quickly, speaking of them moving premium live events to different countries, we've got Money in the Bank coming up in London. So and we all know what the English crowds are like. They go insane. So it's going to be good to see that happen.
Of course.
Especially if
Great exposure.
Especially if the Money in the Bank winner is somebody that the fans genuinely like. Imagine the crowd reaction.
Of course, and we almost forgot Elimination Chamber that happened. Electric all night, just like Puerto Rico. But especially for Sami Zayn, you got to cater to your homegrown talent where they're from because you want the best reaction.
Yep, that's true.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'll give it a final thoughts on it. I'll give it 3.5. I thought the emotion was just overwhelming. The ring work once again was short. But I'll probably just give it that little bit of an emphasis more. So I think they got everything they wanted out of it. Rhea looked as strong as possible. Not to bang on about it, but the emotion before, during, and after the match with Selena. And it was a solid match in the end, so I'll give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with that on 3.5. My thought on it is, looking back at it, maybe the LWO was created the way, not purposely, but the way Rhea Ripley is becoming a breakout star. Maybe this is the way Zelina Vega becomes a breakout star of the women's division, because at the moment we have Bianca, we have Rhea, we have Becky floating with damage control, but we do need another contender, especially with the draft split happening now. I feel like Zelina Vega, that was a breakout moment for her, and she'll be taken a bit more serious in the women's division.
Yeah, I agree. I'd give the match probably a 3.7 out of 3.75 stars out of 5. Like it was a very emotional match. So like we keep mentioning that, but like I think the crowd getting as involved as it did in that match probably brings it up just a bit. And like I said before, I think they got everything they wanted out of the match. Like they had Rhea Ripley looking strong. They had Zelina Vega look like a plucky underdog, I guess you could, if you want to say it like that. And then she had the home crowd like cheering her on, but it just wasn't enough because Rhea Ripley's just that damn good.
Yeah, I completely agree. To go back to what you're saying about bringing up stars, I think with the draft happening now, I think it's time, especially in the women's division, because I feel like they've been pretty bland with the champions last few years with Ronda, Becky, Bianca, Charlotte.
Same formula.
It's always the same formula. I think it's time for a change and start bringing in new potential candidates to run the show. Because especially with Charlotte being married, she's probably want to start a family soon. Bianca has to let go sooner or later. Asuka is another one, which I forgot.
Yeah,
we can't keep
I think it
having
would have
this.
happened by now.
an afterthought pretty much at this
We
point.
haven't seen her since WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I think
sad to
she's
say
just
it.
happy to be around WWE. Like, you see a lot of photos, you see a lot of backstage footage. I think she's just happy to be about
Well,
it.
once again, she's the one that's done everything already. Probably twice over, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, I think it's time to revamp up, change it up, and just bring new faces in. Just give people more TV time.
Yeah, freshen up the scene just a little bit. I agree.
Yeah. And yeah, like even for example, like let's banish the women's tag titles and bring out 2 mid-card titles for the women's, because I don't think the roster's big enough for a women's tag division unless it's across all shows. But with this brand split, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, that's one thing I was actually going to bring up before we get on to the next match. Something I don't know if many of you are familiar with, one of the NXT draft call-ups, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. They've been a tag team division in the for women's in NXT for 4 years now, non-stop. Like they haven't. It's not one of these ones they throw together 2 single stars in on the main roster division. If they could get them up and build them up to take those titles seriously, that could be a big thing, because I feel like we can pick out so many good tag team wrestling male matches, but it's so hard to pinpoint who was a great tag team for the women's tag titles.
And I feel like it's the first like genuine tag team for women's division.
It is.
Because
maybe the Kabuki Warriors.
even it's still a short stint to me.
It is.
Even with the Riot Squad, Absolution that happened. What else was there? The majority of women's tag team champions are all just temporary.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. They were
Nikki Cross.
Very thrown
Nikki
together.
Cross.
Very homogenous and thrown together.
So I think we might have to
Trish
give us a
and
chance.
Trish and Lita and Becky.
And Becky Lynch.
I think we'll have to give those 2 girls a chance that are coming up soon, and I think they'll be. I would honestly a bit of wishful thinking here. I think the best way to get them over is to beat Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam. That could be a marquee match from now, if they do it right.
And didn't they also draft the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions? Was it
Indy Hartwell.
No, Indy Hartwell was the NXT Women's.
Oh, you're talking about Alba Fire and
Isla Dawn. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, like they're the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, and I haven't watched enough NXT to know about them, but I'm pretty sure they're a proper, legitimate tag team.
They are. They only started 6 months ago because they were feuding, but then they found a common ground, and they just clicked. Yeah. Like you got the 2, like it works out. Like they're both gothic, they're both redheads, and like they
Scottish.
like pain. Yeah, they
So like that could be another option if you want to get new women's tag team.
They actually even want to start a Scottish faction with Nikki Cross and Piper Niven as well.
yeah, I could see that. Like if they want to like
I think
take it
that's
more
natural.
serious. Yeah,
That's natural.
sometimes natural is the best way to go to say you don't have to think outside the box.
Yeah.
I think that could
And I think
probably
it'll work out too, especially if Nikki Cross will fit it.
Yeah,
But with Piper, they might have to change up her look a bit.
What was Piper known as before?
Dewdrop. When Eva
Dewdrop.
Marie came back, she gave her like a makeover.
Yeah,
Her name was Dewdrop.
and it was terrible.
Yep. But to finish off the Ripley and Zelina match, I'll rate that as well as a 3.5. With storyline building, the match, the what's the word? The reaction for the crowd, everything was, I feel like, near perfect for what it needed to be. I'll give it a 3.5 as well. And yeah, for the next match, which was the 5th match of the night, I feel which was the match of the night and should have been the main event,
Yes.
which was the street fight between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest with a surprise callback that we did not expect.
2 of them.
Yeah, too.
Well, one showed up earlier, so I didn't want to count him. But the other one, which was Carlito, was completely unexpected.
I feel like that was natural. I
Yeah.
feel like they had to
They had to.
You only have so many Puerto
Yeah.
Rican megastars,
Yeah,
and
but not only that, he got the pop that he deserved because the last time he came back was the Rumble during COVID.
yeah,
He had no crowd to actually give him a reaction.
yeah,
So he got the reaction he wanted.
that was great.
Or
Oh,
deserved,
sure.
I should say.
I'll shoot off. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. The natural building of the storyline between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest.
Damian Priest, yeah.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong. They had interaction before, but it really kicked off after Mania,
Yeah.
right?
Because-
Correct?
Yes.
The start of it was that Mania with Bad
Yeah.
Bunny interfering with
Yeah.
Ray and Dom.
And then a Priest put him through the table
The night after on Raw.
on the night after.
And their history goes further than that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
at WrestleMania 37.
Yeah, that's what I
they had-
said. They had come across, but
Yeah.
the current storyline really kicked off again.
Yeah.
So it's coming on, and it was same, and it was a natural progression to Puerto Rico and everything. And you know what? We used to say that match had no right being that good. Well, I think that term's kind of gone out the window because that was a fantastic match. There was storytelling there. Even if you consider, spoiler to anyone that hasn't watched it, we had the LWO, an appearance from Savio Vega and Carlito, and the match ended with Bad Bunny going over and winning with the Bunny Buster.
The Bunny,
Bunny Destroyer.
Bunny Destroyer, I
Canadian
beg your
Destroyer.
pardon. The Canadian Destroyer, I beg your pardon. And we're starting to see now with the advent of Logan Paul and Bad Bunny, just how good these wrestlers are, and it's bringing across an awkward question: should they have any right to be that good, and does it diminish what the full timers do? However, I did come across someone yesterday who explained a bit these matches. So Bad Bunny was obviously we're in May. They think that Bad Bunny would have been training for this match upwards of 3 months ago. And WrestleMania, Logan Paul would have been training for that match upwards of 3 months before that. So apparently when these celebrities are notified they're having a match like this, they're into training as intense as it can be with their other commitments. Obviously Logan Paul's with KSI, Prime, his podcast and all that. And Bad Bunny's a rapper and at the moment, the most streamed rapper in the world. But apparently, when they are notified of their match, they go into extreme training whenever they can to really perfect the match. And I think that's how we've seen it. We've seen that with Logan against Roman, Logan against Seth, and now we've seen that against Bad Bunny. And Bad Bunny stole the show at WrestleMania 37
7.
in the tag team match.
Yes.
Yep, against Miz and Morrison.
Yeah, so
with
that's where
Damian
we've really
Priest.
seen it there. In terms of storyline and all that, I still think, and I'm a big fan of Damian Priest, I still think it made Damian Priest look as strong as possible because they worked in a leg injury. Then I know Damian Priest had the Judgment Day, Ray and,
Finn and Dominic.
I beg your pardon, Finn and Dominic interfered, but then you had the LWO, and you had Savio, and you had Carlito, and Priest had a leg injury as well, and Priest kicked out of a couple of finishes too. So they're really trying to keep Priest strong there, and I think that's one of the, not so much a silver lining, but that might be a little bit of a thing to take away from Backlash. That's maybe the most underrated thing to take away from Backlash, exactly how strong they keep Priest. So they've obviously got a lot of promise for Priest, and Priest is now on Still on Raw.
He's on Raw.
He's
They're
on
all
Raw.
on Raw.
All
Yeah,
the Judgment Day's on
I
Raw.
beg your pardon, all the Judgment Day on Raw. If he wasn't on Raw, I could see a natural progression to a match against Gunther. But you don't know what can happen with any slots or anything like that. But it was a fantastic match, and the finish brought around a lot of nostalgia with the LWO, Carlito for the modern fan, or the fan's been around 15 to 20 years ago now. And then Savio Vega goes back to the Attitude Era because you're not going to get a lot more Attitude Area folklore or character than Savio Vega. And to see the reaction he got, I shudder to think if that match had taken place in Delaware or Pennsylvania, I don't think he would have got that reaction, but he sure as hell got that reaction. And I think Campbell also brought up who made the point that they showed him earlier.
Cam.
I did.
Yeah, I think if there was any doubt who that bloke was, because I'm going to put my hand up, I thought it was actually Jonathan Coachman. It's not funny, Anthony. This is real podcast.
Could you put more color?
I thought it was actually Jonathan Coachman and Savio Vega. So I think if, once again, read between the lines, they really want to make sure that people knew who they was, so they showed him beforehand with the kendo stick, was it?
Yeah.
The Puerto
Yeah.
Rico design.
That's fantastic. Nostalgic, whole country behind a bloke, priest being kept strong, Carlito and Savio, how do you go wrong? I'll give it to one of the other boys to give their thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Archie?
Yeah, I couldn't find anything wrong with it. They did everything pretty much to perfection. I know where you're coming from, Joe, with are these celebrity stars looking that good?
Well, it seems to be the question that no one wants to ask because,
I think it's something no one wants to answer.
no one wants to talk about.
I think you put them with great workers, they're gonna have a great match. But also they're also putting in the work with the training and for months on end, and it's paying off.
I think that justifies it to a certain extent.
100%. We're getting great results from these matches. I think that Logan Paul Roman Reigns match from Saudi Arabia is still the best celebrity match they've ever had.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that entrance, I think I've watched Bad Bunny's entrance about 30 times on YouTube.
That pop was amazing.
I'll never get that crowd. He had the crowd in his hands, in the palm of his hands. A great match.
He's a showman.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
I was actually explaining to a few people who he is. Like, he's the most streaming artist, and they go,
He's the most streamed artist.
Artist, not even just rapper.
He's
just
an
artist.
Artist, yeah.
And they're thinking, what's he do? And like you'd be surprised. Like
It's a lot of rap. It's a lot of rap that you'd hear in clubs in Miami,
Yeah.
Vegas to a certain extent.
Your party
New York,
capitals.
Latino parties are rife.
Of course,
Obviously,
you've got the whole continent
yeah,
to work with there,
and they're really a
eventually
people,
goes
and they're a proud people, and they're a fiery people, and they're people who get behind one of their own when they make it.
Yeah.
And you can see that with.
And Damian Priest, tremendous, has improved non-stop since his Judgment Day run.
Yeah.
I think putting him with Edge, Balor, Dominic and Rhea.
Even just main roster debut in general.
Yeah.
He's stepped up to the plate as a face, as a heel.
The work he's put into his body, the transition. It reminds me of
compared to that OVW photo we saw earlier.
Yeah, he just looks like a normal indies circuit.
He's taking care of himself.
Yeah.
That's
He looks like a superstar right now.
that's what you got to bring it about.
And
The
he's
image.
also improving a lot on the mic as well. Like his mic work has been very, very solid.
I think a lot of shine is being taken off him because of how much Rhea and Dominic have improved over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And Finn is Finn.
Also, as well, he's very he's good looking too.
Great look.
So once he turns face, and it will come
Well,
eventually.
I think that is the way to go. I don't think he's a breakout heel. I think he's a breakout face.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
here's the question for Judgment Day. When the time comes for them to split up, how do they split up?
Well, Judgment Day for me was always constrained to a certain extent around Edge.
Yeah.
Edge, we know, is in one of the triple threat matches on SmackDown for a long time.
correct.
Yes.
So we know the Judgment Day's on Raw, and it'd be farcical if anyone interferes. So for me, it came about. I can see. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking. Maybe it's wishful thinking. I can see maybe a bust up between Finn and Dominic,
Yeah.
where Ray comes to Dominic's aid.
You know, I believe
I can see that.
that's something I believe.
Now, the funny question there, Cam, is, do Rhea and Damian Priest just homogeneously just
Do
amicably
anything.
say, all right, well, we're leaving now, there's no more group, or does there have to be a falling out between every member? You go back and look at Evolution. The fallout was originally Triple H and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Triple H Batista, then eventually Triple H and Ric Flair. There was no more
Evolution.
D-Generation X. The fallout was, I'm looking at the second coming of D-Generation X, in 98.
Post-Mania.
Post-Mania, there were fallouts, and then they got back together and everything like that. But when Triple H really had to go ahead, it was kind of like a natural progression where they broke up. So it's going to be interesting to see how they break up. But that's where I think, if you ask me now, knee-jerk reaction, looking into a crystal ball, looking in the future, I'll put my money on Finn and Dominic having a bust-up. But in terms of how do Ray and Rhea go about it, I don't know. And, I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing how they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question to that is Judgment Day big enough to do that kind of split? Whereas, for example, like the Bloodlines are much bigger
I can't
faction
see
right now.
I can't see Judgment Day.
Hmm?
Yeah.
So So pretty much as Bloodline, where they're hinting it now with the Usos possibly getting betrayed by Solo, Heyman, and Roman now. God, that kind of rhymes a lot, doesn't it?
Solo, Heyman, Roman.
Yeah.
Not with Roman, Heyman.
Off the tongue.
Say that 3 times.
I think SummerSlam seems to be a rock for me.
Mm.
Because my first thought, especially last few years after WrestleMania, where do we look to?
SummerSlam.
We look to SummerSlam. I can see him. I can't see them breaking up before SummerSlam.
Yep.
Yet, once again, a bit of a prediction. I can safely say they won't be together at WrestleMania 40.
Definitely
I can say they won't be together at WrestleMania 40. Are they strong enough? I think they are. And probably now, and it's a word I don't like using, and you guys have known me for long enough, and I really don't like using it. They're more relevant than the Bloodline at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they
They're
are.
fresh.
Yeah, I think they're more
Fresh.
relevant. Roman's doing whatever he's
feel
doing.
like when we see them, it's not, not this again.
Roman's doing whatever he's doing, and God be with him. And we're probably going to go on to...
And we get dragged on
No,
by...
we'll be
the
going
next
into it
match
more.
soon.
We'll be going into it the next
Yeah,
match.
we're going to the next
Yeah.
match soon, but I think they are, and like I said, not to bang on, it's a word I don't like using because it gets thrown around. I think they're more relevant than the Bloodline, and they have been since Mania, which is now 5 weeks ago. Yeah.
I'll just finish off. I still think Endgame will be Dominic Mysterio convincing them, the LWO, for him to be the leader. I think that's a natural
What, and they
thing.
turn heel,
Yeah.
the LWO?
Yeah, because they were always a heel faction in WCW. That's
right.
and
But
yeah.
if Ray's still going to be in the group,
no, I think they turn on Ray, and you have the final match between Ray and Dominic down the line. But I think Endgame is Dominic takes over the LWO.
And he
They're
runs-
young,
But he must
he's-
have a fallout then. So unless he falls out with Judgment Day.
Maybe
But
you
then,
turn the Judgment Day face.
I was about to say,
You turn the Judgment Day face, keep him somewhat
does
fresh.
that turn Judgment Day face?
Because they're all face compatible.
well,
Yeah.
this is the issue of that now
Is Finn?
as well.
Of course.
That's the
At
issue.
the
The
moment,
demon
yeah.
gimmick.
But that's the issue of that now. LW has been drafted to SmackDown.
I know.
I
It's
don't think
something
it's happening
that
anytime
will
soon.
happen down the line.
It'll happen
Yeah.
somewhere
I don't think it's
down the
happening.
When the
anytime
draft
soon.
is no longer around,
Yeah.
technically speaking.
Yeah,
Which hopefully, I think
Post
sooner rather than
Rumble,
later.
where every brand is together again.
that's it.
John, any last inputs before we give ratings?
Yeah, I'll just have to speak about the match itself. Like it all started with Bad Bunny's epic entrance. I watched it 100 times over, like Archie. Just hearing the crowd sing along to his music, it legit felt like a concert on steroids. Like it was unbelievable. And then obviously his match with Damian Priest.
Is it me or am I imagining it? Wasn't there some concert bill too on that weekend? Wasn't he having a concert as well?
No,
Bad Bunny?
he just the week before he performed at the Met Gala.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's had a hot streak. And,
Sorry to cut you off
And
there,
both
John,
nights at
sorry.
Coachella.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, then it's just like the overall match with Damian Priest. Like you could probably say, it probably didn't have the right to be as great as it was. Like they had Damian Priest look really strong in the feet. Like he had selling a leg injury. there was obviously the outside shenanigans with the LWOs, Savio Vega, Carlito, and and you could tell like Damian Priest went all out to make sure Bad Bunny looked as good as possible, and he sold all over the place for him, especially with the shots that he took to the leg with the weaponry and everything. Like he went above and beyond to put on a show with Bad Bunny, and Bad Bunny did the same with Damian Priest.
Thanks. All right, ratings.
I'll start off with the ratings this time. Overall, story build up, match, surprise entrances, crowd pops, left, right, and center. It was a near perfect 5-star, but I'll give it a 4.5.
Yeah,
because it can always be better.
I've got a feeling that might be the sentiment of a lot of people.
Yeah,
John.
I say 4.5 stars as well. Like, it'd be very hard to push a 5, but I think 4.5 is probably like a perfect rating you can get for that.
Archie.
Yeah, too good to be 4, but just not the perfect match
5.
to be 5. 4.5 sweet spot for it.
I go the other way. Yeah, I almost feel a bit guilty not giving it 5, but
Yeah, exactly.
4.5.
That's why I had to justify it.
A 4.5. Yeah. It was.
It's a very fair call.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can have your run-ins, you can have your nostalgia, you can have your location anywhere that you want, but the ring work still has to be half decent. Brother, it was more than half decent.
Well, here's a thought. If Bad Bunny was a full-timer, or if we replace it with another full-timer, would it be 5 stars then?
No.
I don't think it changes.
No.
I don't think it really
I don't
changes.
think
No.
it changes.
I do, because I think it affects the... What? Are you, well, wait a minute. Is he still from Puerto Rico?
Yeah, let's put Cody in the match instead, because he's Puerto Rican.
So it's Cody against...
Damien.
Okay, let's give someone who
A scenario.
Dusty Rose didn't sleep with. Bobby Lashley. Is that a 4? But then different wrestler then. Okay, who's a wrestler that is wrestles similarly to
Like Damian Priest.
Bad Bunny?
Leo Rush.
Damian Priest against himself?
No, I thought you were asking if you put Bunny with someone else.
Oh no, sorry. What was the question? Not Bunny
So
or not Priest?
instead of being a celebrity guest,
Not Bunny, yeah.
so put it
all right,
replace Bad
okay.
Bunny with a.
All right, Seth Rollins.
Would it still be a 5? Would it be a 5-star? Would it still be?
Well, you wouldn't
4.5?
get all those run-ins. They wouldn't make sense.
4.5 just because of ring work.
I think it probably leads back to a 4, but then again, knowing Rollins, they might have put on a kicker. Might be 5.
Yeah,
Might
at
be
least
catch as
4.5
catch can
because it's
classic.
Rollins, Seth Rollins.
No, great match.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Back into topic with what we were talking about before. It was the 6-man tag match, which was the co-main event, which is oddly enough because didn't they announce that the co-main event was going to be Bad Bunny and Damian Priest
the
and
graphic-
the Cody and Brock Lesnar?
The graphic for Bad Bunny and Damian Priest said co-main event.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure it
the
did.
6-man tag wasn't billed as main event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
any
they
other
didn't
match.
build the 6-man tag as main event.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's very justified.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Who wants to get it going?
please get started, Cam,
Yeah.
because I've got my thoughts on this.
So, it was a 6-man tag between the Usos and the third Uso, Sikoa.
The better so.
Other than that, Matt Riddle.
Oh, no. Oh, don't get me started don't get me started what's happened with him today.
Did he wake up on some grass or
Some leaked
some
images.
fucking shoes? Oh, can we swear on this thing? No, probably
Why not?
Yeah. Put some fucking shoes on. Yeah. Go ahead, Cam. Sorry to cut you
Versus
off.
the unrelated brothers of KO, Sammy, featuring Mr. 420 of 2023, Matt Riddle.
Rob Van Dinnerbitch.
Rob Van
Rob
Gogh.
Van Cam. Don't think I didn't say that, Cam.
Riddle, Viddle, Diddle.
Rob Van Cam.
Yeah,
That was
Rob Van
cute.
Cam. That's my new Insta handle if anyone wants to follow me.
Are you going to change it every week like me? Or?
Maybe once a quarter.
But what else happened in the match, Cam?
During the match,
Give us your thoughts on the match, Cam. What happened? Give us your thoughts.
dragged that a little. What do we call it in AEW? The Super Kick Party.
Yes.
Hey, Archie's on this podcast. You can't really feel it.
Yeah. The Usos are just as liable as the Young Bucks.
Hey,
Who says the worst of the young buck?
Oh, you set it up there.
Go ahead, Cam. I'm
well,
kidding.
I need my AEW references to be correct, so that's why we have Archie here.
It was a good idea from Great Creative, and it'll be here every week. Sorry. Go.
Take 3.
I feel like it dragged on. I did get to a couple of times where I just started looking at my phone throughout the match.
That was my toilet break.
The toilet break too.
That was
That's
my
when John went on Tinder.
I did.
Yeah.
When I'm grinding for a minute.
Well, of course, we get the super kick heaven with a few bit of teasers of Solo possibly turning. Personally, I felt like it was going to happen that night, because if the turn was going to happen, it was going to happen at a main event. Why not be the kickoff main event after Mania?
Yeah.
To me, it wasn't their best match together. The story has been overrun, I feel now. I think it was just it's to end the rivalry now that the draft is happening now. Usos and Bloodline do their own thing. Sami and KO can start their own new rivalries, which has started yesterday with Raw, with Imperium. Is it going to continue? Who knows?
Yeah.
Overall, I wasn't too impressed with the match, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was just a replay of Mania plus 2 extra people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's next? Joe, you want to go? Yeah. Yeah, it dragged on. Like, how many times are we going to see the Super Kick party and then the hope spot for KO and Sami? And I think only until the crowd, you got to look back at the crowd, that was probably the weakest the crowd reaction was during that match, until the last 2 or 3 minutes when that bit of drama was in there with the super kick on the brother, and then Solo and Jay and Jimmy having the tension. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there wasn't much heat in it. It wasn't the highlight.
It's gone bland now.
Yeah, I feel like they should have put this into 15.
Personally, it should have just been a 15-minute match and be the kickoff match for the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Not impressed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me?
No, go for it.
John.
Me? No. Well, okay. It's hard to... Once again, it's probably... There's a reason the event was called WrestleMania Backlash for a little while, if not unofficially. It's hard to go across this match without reviewing what happened at WrestleMania with all these competitors, except for Riddle, who was still on his ban, was he? He was on the ban. So he missed out on his WrestleMania payday. And on that's made me know my thoughts about this for a little while now. And Finn and Edge, Ray and Dominic, and now the Usos and Sami and Kane. Sami and KO. I wish we still had Kane around. Those were matches and rivalries that took place at Mania and finished. Now, one of those rivalries finished. Edge and Bella ended. Ray and Dominic. And I always said, if this rivalry was going to continue after Mania, Dominic should have been on Ray. That's another story. Now, WWE got very lucky. They've been very lucky with the crowd. The crowd have really gone behind WWE in the last few months. They pretty much ripped away Sami Zayn from Roman and said, you now go over here, we connect you. But they got lucky. They had Cody Rhodes, and I gave my sentiments on Cody before, how he's still being cheered 5 weeks after Mania like maniacs in the crowd after what they'd done. In saying all that, Cam, when he was speaking, brings up a good point. If you take the match just as something to do before the draft split came along and before everyone went around 48 hours later, okay. However, there's still the taste in the mouth what happened at Mania, everything to do with Solo, Roman. I personally think it was a great moment, the night of, with the Usos doing the job for Sami and KO. But then again, like someone called it on the night, we only got that because we were about to get a special surprise 24 hours later. I don't think the match had to happen. It did. It wasn't a bad match. But to share the sentiments of Cam and Archie, just went through the motions. I think they did too. If you're going to take the match, what it is, what I said a moment ago, if it was just something to finish it off before the brand split, I'll take that. I'll cop that on the chin. I don't know really where Riddle come into it. They kind of came across with, that still had to do with the Usos and Randy and RKO last year.
Yeah,
Randy
Riddle did mention it throughout the build-up between Mania and Backlash.
Yeah. Then you had, was it Jay kick Jimmy or Jimmy kick Jay?
Jay kick
Super
Jimmy.
kick.
Jay kick Jimmy.
Did he hit the super kick on him? Yes.
Yeah.
So when you had that, they're obviously building to that. So they're taking that tension over to SmackDown. Then with Solo there, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think they actually know what they're doing with the bloodline. I don't think they know who's going to turn. I don't think they know Oh, we've got Roman appearing on SmackDown, don't we?
Yeah.
Yep,
do?
this week.
Yeah, we do. I don't. If you had to twist my arm now and ask me, do they know what they're doing? I don't think they. Not to say, but I don't think they've got the path planned out. And once again, I'll say SummerSlam is probably the measuring point there. I don't think they know if the Bloodline's going to be around in the fullest until SummerSlam. Obviously, with Roman coming about there now, our next pay-per-view is in Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. I don't know what effect, but I think the match on the surface was a good match. I think it's just we've been fatigued. We've been fatigued by it, and if we take it as just a match that had to happen, once again, not to repeat myself after brand split, that was it. But let it flow on now, and you really have to look at it. What my question is that who did the Usos and Solo feud with on SmackDown?
Well,
Are the LWO on SmackDown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're on
That's probably a natural option there.
The two factions.
Faction warfare.
Yeah. And it's something new
But
for us.
isn't it just running it back with Roman and Usos and Ray again?
At least Ray has more backup now. Like
As in when Roman and Ray had that match a while ago.
probably get some
Yeah.
more eyes on the LWO.
Plus Usos versus Dom and Ray as well, because
Yeah.
that was the start of the whole tag team run.
Yep. It might get some more eyes on. Maybe they can finally pick up some wins, which will cause a damage in the bloodline. With the LWO winning, it will cause more tension. It
Roman.
might build towards this. Also building up the
All
LWO.
it's all leading to Usos disappointing Roman.
Again,
Yeah,
how many times have they disappointed him in the last half year?
That's
And
what I said.
nothing's
They
happened
lost the titles. I mean,
that's
That should be enough.
yet. And who dedicated the match? Someone, and they lost the rematch.
the rematch.
rematch
The Usos, they're both dedicated.
So
to
that's two
Roman.
strikes. So you think they're on their third strike now.
Yeah.
Whatever happens next has to be the nail for them.
did Heyman appear? Heyman didn't appear.
No,
No.
John, what was your thoughts on the match?
I don't know, like they've done the match between the Usos, well, the Bloodline specifically, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. They've done it. They've more than done it to death.
Yeah.
Like it's happened so many times over the past how many months. Like we just want to see something different, see them finally move on from each other, which we finally got to see because of the brand split. I think they just wanted to do it one more time just to finally like end it all, and then they move on. And both groups do something new, and like what I think the most we could take out of it was Solo nearly dropping the hammer on Jay with the Samoan spike. But then after the match, they appeared to be on good terms when they, I don't know, I guess you could say they celebrated together.
Yeah.
But
the slight hesitation that he decided to celebrate.
like Solo hesitated a lot. He looked like he was ready to attack them both, but then he just, I don't know, he gave in.
I still think there's that bitter taste there around these 6 competitors. Well, 5, I don't really count Riddle, he's got nothing to do with it. There's still a bit of taste there from 2 people who weren't even in that match. And it comes back to what happened with Roman and Cody. I think that's where people are still shirty. That was the cloud that kind of hangs over. And we're getting this again. But they done what they done at Mania, and then we're getting that. But they done what they done at the Rumble, then they done what they done at Elimination Chamber. Rumble was fantastic, by the way. Elimination Chamber, I mean, did anyone really think Sammy was going to beat Roman? No. And that was fair. Did we think Cody was going to beat Roman? Yeah, but we probably thought Cody was going to beat Roman probably because it was time for Roman to give it up.
Yeah.
But, like I said, not to repeat myself, but if they can all just move on, well, they kind of have to move on now. And that was it. You take it for what it was. 4 great competitors, add in Riddle and Sikoa. And that's the end of it. But once again, the original point I made, I still think we look at it with rolled eyes because of what happened with with what happened with Roman and Cody at Mania.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Want to give the ratings?
yeah, Archie.
Yeah, through the motions, nothing. Like obviously, it did its job, created some more tension, but nothing to write home about. Dare I say the weakest match of the night?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd give it 2.5, right in the middle.
yeah.
John,
I agree with everything Archie just said, but I think I'd probably just give it a 3 just because of the of what we saw with Solo potentially like attacking the Usos and beating them up. I think that was probably like the biggest thing we could take from that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I think 2.5 is a pretty fair rating. Probably more on the lenient side of what it was.
Only for the last 2 minutes of drama there.
Yeah. It looks like it's leading up to the turn soon enough. When's the turn going to happen? No one knows. And we don't know if it could even be...
Who's turning?
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. It could be Solo decides to stick with his brothers, turn on the uncle or cousin Roman.
First card removed.
And then Roman can just be a solo champion again. And that's how you can probably get dethroned, is once they all turn on each other.
Yeah.
Or the three stick together, one off. But yeah, I think 2.5 is a lenient rating. But
what you just said there, John. Yeah, so what you just said there, John, was very interesting. You said pull on the side because I had a bit of conjecture out. They were drafted all together, Solo, Heyman, and Roman.
Yeah, the Usos was separate.
So that's kind of your window if you choose to take it into the future, maybe. And I know I'm bringing up the crystal ball a lot here. I can really see if there's going to be a turn, it's going to be Solo and Roman and Heyman on the Usos.
I think that's natural.
That'll be the natural turn. They've drafted the three of them like that. Yeah. In terms of rating, maybe I'm going back a bit on what I said. If we had been given that match with absolutely no context and a bit of build-up a couple of months ago, we would have said, oh my God, how good was that? We got that match 5 months ago. 5 weeks ago, I beg your pardon. Now, whilst it wasn't as good as that match, I've got to admit the ring work was still pretty good and it was still good. Little did we need Riddle and I keep wanting to say Sokoa, but we didn't really need Riddle in there. I guess I'll be a bit generous to that match. I'll give it a 3. I know what Archie said about the atmosphere and everything like that, but I think the work that was done, everything like that, it was still safe enough. I'll give it a 3.
Here's the thing as well, going back to the out of nowhere matches that's been booked with like Omos and Brock and Omos and Seth. Should WWE keep doing it? Because it seems like every time they do it, it's actually been a decent match.
I think
so. What were you saying?
Every time they do these random match announcements that are unexpected, they've actually turned out to be pretty decent matches on the card.
I've got to go back on what I said before. I said I still think a lot of the conjecture and a lot of the rolling of the eyes was what happened at Mania. Other than that...
John, what were you going to say?
Yeah, like, I think they could do that in the future so long as they get the 2 right opponents for the match just to ensure that the match quality would at least be good. Because like with Seth and Omos, when they threw that together, when they just had it coming out of nowhere, I thought, what the hell are they doing here? Like,
filler.
Me and John together watching SmackDown were like, what the hell is this?
Did we miss out on 2 SmackDown episodes?
Yeah, like we rolled our eyes seeing them say, oh, Seth and Omos are going to go against each other. But then by the time the match was done, most people would have been eating their words because it was actually a pretty quality match. Yeah. I think it just depends on who they get in the match. Are they both good workers? Can they both tell a story, put on a good show? If the answer to all that is yes, then I'd say keep doing it.
Well, so you're saying like a spontaneous match,
just a random general exhibition match between 2 randoms.
Well, like a good idea I just thought of is maybe they did it with Austin Theory at the pay-per-views, have an open challenge the way John Cena did. It was some of the best work the US title has seen it since the 03 era. Yeah. I think that's a great way to get Austin Theory over as well. A bit of excitement.
Especially because we had Cena as a US champ.
Yeah.
Doing the US Open Challenge as a face. Imagine doing a heel US Open Challenge.
And you have faces and like everybody's going to be cheering for a title change. I think that's a great way for Austin Theory to keep his heel heat.
And he can get potential, sorry to cut you off, but we can even get like potential heel versus heel matches, which we don't get that much anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like you were saying before, Archie, like with Austin Theory saying he beat John Cena, like he can have him come out every week and say, I beat John Cena at WrestleMania, I'm going to issue an open challenge, I want to see if any of you can actually beat me, because I'm just better than all of you on the back. Like,
to be honest, we got to call it, he did beat Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed in the same match. Given it was a pretty weak way he won, but that is persona, he can still write it, say, I beat these 2 people in one match.
Because he's got the ring IQ.
It might be seen, an open challenge or whatever might be seen as more, what was the Cena one called? The open,
US Open Challenge.
It may be seen more of a facing, but look at probably the most, what led to arguably the most decorated career in the history of WWE, and that was the Kurt Angle Open Challenge when he challenged anyone back there. That was a heel that done that, and out came white meat babyface John Cena, who ceased to exist in a couple of months' time after that when he had his turn. But that was a heel angle, and that was challenge. So a heel challenge can work, Archie. That's a good one.
It can go both ways.
Actually, speaking of, I know he's already rose to fame since he's came into the main roster. But imagine Gunther doing open challenges for the IC title.
That'd be great.
He's a champion that's taken on anyone he hasn't said no to.
That'd be great, yeah.
He's taken on everybody, and the thing is, he's not like the typical heel where he cheats as well. Like, he takes on everyone and anyone, and he actually wins his matches clean as a whistle.
Well, here's a question. Would you be open to seeing both mid-card champions take on open challenges at the same time? Because it leads to unexpected stuff on both shows.
How exactly would the open challenge work? What would you have them every week?
No, so 1 week he announces, from now on, I'm going to be accepting open challenges.
The thing is, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that was my idea for the 24/7 title, was let it be a TV title. You defend it every week on that show, whatever you're on.
Yeah.
Even if you want to defend it on a pay-per-view. And it could have been called the 24/7 TV title of some sort.
Yeah.
And that can give any rising or debutee or whoever
Like an opportunity.
Push, and gives them a bit of a scene to be on TV and see how to go as a champion of some sort.
I don't think anyone could pull it off the way John Cena did, though.
Oh,
yeah.
He did it perfectly.
But like, there doesn't have to be any rivalries. So it's just a TV title.
Yeah.
And, it can give someone that push to see how they go into main event status.
Against an established superstar they got on the roster. Like, I think it can work out.
Could be a great way for eventually down the line.
And even going back to me saying putting 2 women's mid-card titles instead of the tag titles.
Do you think the division is deep enough for 2 mid-cards?
Definitely, because if you split the brand, it's better than having tag teams in the women's
and
division.
throw away tag team competitors.
We've never had a women's mid-card title, have we?
No,
never.
There was talk about it a few years ago, but I never went anywhere.
As if they're not doing a women's US and a women's intercontinental title.
Just call them the women's US.
Women's US.
Even maybe the women's TV title.
Yeah.
So you're not dissolving the women's championship, the main championship, as a throwaway title match.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I want to banish those women's tag titles. They're pointless.
They've never worked.
Unless they start bringing Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Katana Chance.
No pun intended. We have to give these people a chance.
Yeah.
If
it doesn't work, then split everyone up.
I think this is the best shot for the women's tag titles to become relevant.
And as well, it adds rivalry to Survivor Series too.
For War Games.
Yeah, of course.
Because War Games is going to be a thing.
I think that's a mainstay now for Survivor Series.
So it's a good way to go about it, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we might as well continue on and finalise it with the main event of the pay-per-view, which was... I'm actually surprised it went 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was Cody vs. Brock. Joe?
Once again, can't talk about Backlash without talking about WrestleMania. We all know what happened to Cody back then, and we thought, we were getting face Brock for a while with his win over Omos. And the night after, much to Archie's chagrin, we never got the match, and all of our chagrin, we never got a tag team match between Brock and Cody versus Roman and
Solo.
And Solo.
It was never going to happen.
Brock, Archie called it. It was Brock attacked Cody before the match. So that's what we found out was going to happen with Cody in the next few months, it looks like. And obviously a lot of conjecture, what the hell's going on, what are they doing, what's happening, oh my god, they ruined the moment. But a few people out there kept the faith, and one of them was Jim Cornette, who can be more cynical than others, and he said, I'm willing to give him time, I'm willing to buy into this, as long as I see Cody win in that ring by pinfall, 1, 2, 3. No disqualification, no count out, no contest, no running, no nothing. And to their credit, they made Jim and they made me and a lot of other people very happy. But because you can argue that finish, Cody beat Brock. Maybe Cody will beat Roman one day. Cody beat Brock 1, 2, 3 in the middle of that ring. Now, they done it very well. Brock had shown the human side of him before Mania with MVP and Omos. He'd been eliminated from the Rumble, and I think he had lost a test of strength as well against Omos. So we were coming in, and then we saw that really psychedelic Brock after Mania on Backlash, And then we saw Cody get his heat back a little bit, and we thought, oh, does that mean that Brock's going to stomp him? And we never got it because I think they knew exactly how important it was having Cody beat him and get not that Cody lost any legitimacy, but to really instill legitimacy he had before Mania. And we had that spot where the turnbuckle was exposed. So obviously Cody done that for a reason. So it had to be spoken about. But then Brock went into that turnbuckle, that exposed turnbuckle, with very little protection and bled profusely. Bled as much as we've seen anyone bleed in such a long time. Bleed so much that I thought they were actually going to turn the live feed to black and white. They didn't. And then Brock put on the Kimura lock, was it?
Yep.
And the Kimura lock, and we thought, oh, here we go. And Cody 1, 2, 3. And it was probably the quickest finish to a main event, or most unexpected finish to a main event I've seen since Archie and I had to stay awake for WrestleMania 35's main event.
I was going to bring that up.
This one was done a lot better. And I think once again, much like the Rhea and Rhea Selena Vega, much like just about every other match out there, even the match with the Usos, Solo, Sammy, I want to say Kane here, Sammy, KO and Matt Riddle, what should have been done was done. And I know we don't always get what we want, because if we got what we wanted all the time, we probably wouldn't tune in as profusely, but what's done was done. And the main thing was Cody beat Brock 1, 2, 3 in the middle of that ring, and he's going to continue his story and finish his story. As for Brock, I guess quote unquote, we won't talk about what happened on Raw, but Cody looks to see that Cody's still going after Roman and still going after that undisputed title. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I agree.
I enjoyed the match, by the way. Sorry.
Like, I enjoyed the match as well for what it was, even though it was only 10 minutes. But in that 10 minutes, they put on a pretty decent match, and Cody winning the match was the right call because he needed to gain back some sort of heat after losing to Roman at Mania. And the way they did it was he won the match, but without having Brock look weak. Like, it was just Cody using his ring IQ to counter the Kimura and, I don't know, roll Brock up. I don't know if it was really a roll up, but like just pretty much
flip himself.
I don't think
it's kind of like flip himself.
They on the Raw after they did call it a roll up.
Yeah, I don't think it was so much made Brock look weak, but I think Brock and probably Roman Reigns has become that thing now. They're that strong. How do you get someone to beat them? And he quickly surprised him.
Yeah, so I think they went about it the right way. Like, it was just Cody using his ring IQ just to get one over Brock, and I think it was just done pretty well. Like, they made it so that Brock he didn't really, like, I don't know, you could say properly lose. It was just Cody outsmarting Brock and pulling a fast one on him. But overall, it was done really well, especially with the turnbuckle spot. They planned that, and he sold the match pretty well. Like, everybody would have thought Cody would be the one to bleed all over the place, but it was the other way around. He had blood on his hands, but it wasn't his own. It was Brock's. So overall, it's done pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, great match for what it needed to be for Brock. He got his 10 minutes that he always requests anyway. It doesn't go any longer.
Is that real? Is it? Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Oh, sorry. I thought, no.
It was 2017, 2018.
My assumption, I can't remember the last time Brock ever had a half an hour match besides the last man standing against Roman.
SummerSlam Roman. Yeah.
Mania Roman. Was that long? Was
That
that a long?
short.
that was like 12 minutes.
If that.
11 and a half minutes longer than what it should have been.
Yeah, I think they did it right. Cody starting off strong by attacking Brock before the match, hitting him the stairs 3 times from what I remember.
He was hungry.
Yeah, and just try to weaken him straight away before the match even starts so he doesn't get the no DQ.
Yeah.
Then Brock obviously did his like 6 or 7 suplexes.
Especially the catching on mid-air, that was pretty, it was a good spot.
I'm trying to remember, did he even hit the F5 at all?
He hit
one.
Hit
one.
What happened?
Cody kicked out at like 2.5. Or 20.
So here's the question about it now, whenever I thought about it, is with them humanising Brock even more, is he getting weaker in storylines and everything, or is Brock just Brock? And
I'll give you thoughts on that. Arch, give your thoughts on the match first, and then we'll talk
we've got about it. Yeah, go. So
Yes,
give your
that's
thoughts.
interesting point.
like obviously we all agree tremendous, two of the best workers in the company right now. I still think Cody, end of the day, is that guy to finish the story. Great match. I think the bleeding added to it. I think it also helped with the finish.
Yeah,
Albeit if he didn't bleed, maybe we thought about it a different way. But I think after seeing Brock bleed like that,
yeah,
okay, he's beatable.
yeah,
But Cody did it the way it should have been done. It wasn't a
Yeah.
decisive 3 crossroads and he's pinned in the middle of the ring.
yeah.
It was, and it left it open for rematches, which will be, I'm pretty sure, happening at Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia. And I think Brock gets that one, and I see him taking a third one to SummerSlam to give Cody something to do.
So Cody announced that on Raw that he's challenging him at Saudi Arabia
That's it.
after he attacked him in that triple threat.
Yeah.
They got that out of the way nice and quick, didn't
Yeah,
they?
I knew that would happen.
It was done right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go back to
Yeah, something I was saying about Brock. Brock, correct me if I'm wrong, 2002 he won the title, he was 25.
Yeah.
So plus 21, he'd be 46. That was around that 46 or 47, 45, 46 mark.
Yeah.
His body looks, I don't know if tone's the right word, but looks a lot more ring ready these days.
compared to his
Compared
initial
to,
return. We're looking at flabby.
Exactly. Well, up to a little while ago. So I think Brock knows he's here for a while now. And he can put on that whole, I'm not going to say charade, but that whole image of, I don't care about this, I don't care about that, I'll go anytime I want, and I don't love this, and it's another event that, and I don't care about this or any of this. But he knows if he wants to keep making that money, he's still there. You talk about because he's not going to UFC. He's I think, admittedly too old for UFC. I know you watch a little bit of UFC. He's too old, isn't he?
I love my UFC. Well, Mark Hunt fought till he's like 46, so
Well, Brock's 40.
it's never too old, but
Yeah.
Mark Hunt lost more than he won by the end of it all.
Yeah, no, he might have had a couple
Speaking
special
of which,
things.
Lesnar had the fight with Mark Hunt.
That's it, yeah.
What's that at Hooters?
2016.
Yeah, what's that at
We're going to
Hooters?
play basketball in our jeans.
Yeah, Jeans for Jeans Day. So we had come around to that notion now. If they are making Lesnar more humanoid, means he's probably going to be on TV a hell of a lot more. He's probably going to be on most pay-per-views, which I'm really looking forward to. And if they are, I think it's a different humanoid than what you saw against Omos,
Yeah.
because that reminded me a bit of that finish against the Undertaker. Was it SummerSlam 2015?
Yeah.
Was it? There was the same move too, wasn't it?
No, Undertaker had Hell's Gate and he passed out.
And
Yes.
Lesnar was trying to pin him, right?
No. Lesnar, I think Lesnar tried to pin him, but he ended up passing out.
Yeah, so it was the reverse of what happened at Backlash. So that was a bit of a wink. I'm surprised no one else in the community picked up on that. So I think Cam, I think you are, but it's a different kind of
Lesnar.
that image that you saw even when he was taking on Omos, because obviously heel Lesnar. I think when Omos kind of put pay to him, he was like, "Oh, you got me. Oh, what's going on?" Now he's angry.
Yeah.
Now he's really angry, as we saw after all. So I think he's around for a while, which is good. Because I've never really called Brock Lesnar one of my favourite wrestlers, but he's going to be that wrestler that one day when he's not around anymore, he's going to like, oh my God. He's almost like, to me,
John Cena.
I was about to say in the NFL, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like when you tune into a Super Bowl, especially these last two that have been without Tom Brady, it was like an event that Tom Brady was at almost religiously every year. Then one day when we're not going to get Lesnar, like with a lot of other, like with Cena and all that, but Lesnar just was like, oh my God, it's this, it defied suspension of disbelief. It was like, oh, this is the crazy guy who suplexes their fucking madman. He's not around anymore. It's like Brady with the NFL. Oh my God, this guy's so good. Oh, he's not around anymore. So I think we'll miss Brock one day.
Yeah,
we
so-
will miss
Oh,
Brock.
A lot of
that's a
people-
given.
A lot of people,
We will miss Brock.
yeah, like people won't realize what they've got until it's gone, and that's
Exactly.
probably what it will be when Brock calls it a day.
I think John Cena is the ultimate example of you're not going to miss me until I'm not here anymore.
Yeah, literally, because
His pops are louder than ever whenever he comes back.
Yeah.
especially that Return of Money in the Bank 21,
That's exactly
the
it.
first pay-per-view
Yeah.
with the crowd that went ballistic.
Especially since his initial WWE Championship run onwards, he's been face onwards.
Even before that.
A little bit, not much. But that's the whole start of his big pop and everything. When you think about it, back in those days, a lot of kids looked up to him all those years. And now he's got that adult crowd with him that have that nostalgia, like with me and Joe, with Goldberg.
Talking about Brock?
No, we've Cena.
Well, I think it applies to Brock as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does.
I think it
like-
applies to Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Cena's
because
the
our
ultimate.
nostalgia was anyone in WCW, like Sting. I
Goldberg.
guess you want to say Nash and Hogan in a way,
Yeah,
to
well,
an extent.
I mean, that was all well and good.
So,
and
like, we've got the new generations with their nostalgia and the Attitude Era-ish and onwards now.
And now it's with Brock.
I think thinking about it,
I think it could roll away too.
So, like, now whenever he comes back, he's a nostalgia now.
I think at the moment now, I think Roman's the only one. If when he finally retires and he comes back, they're going to pop hard for.
Yeah.
I think we've seen a lot of everybody, and it's been such a long roster. Their longevity.
Before we finish up, we haven't even given a rating.
We'll give the ratings on it. I'll go first. I thought it was exactly what had to happen, which seems to be a theme with this
This card,
Mania.
yeah.
It was almost WrestleMania-esque. No wonder they were thinking about calling it WrestleMania Backlash. I think it was exactly what to happen. Obviously, we know post-Raw, spoiler alert, what's happened since then, so it's going to go forward and continue. Cody pinned him in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3. The ring work was great. It did have a lot of Lesnar elements in that match,
I got worried for a minute
but
there.
at the same time, yeah, I did. Nah,
The
but-
suplexes didn't
oh,
stop.
do you think it was going to squash him?
Cena 2014. Yeah.
2012.
You beat me too.
Yeah, I just had this
Cena 2012?
PTSD. No, 2014 SummerSlam.
SummerSlam for the WWE.
Which started his ultimate run.
Oh, so, yeah. Yes. What was the comparison then? Oh, Roman. Cena and Brock 2012 Backlash, where Cena won.
Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules or
Was
Backlash?
Yeah,
Rules.
Extreme Rules.
No, I'm talking about...
I know what you're talking about.
he was-
But was that the match when Brock came back? Was
Yeah,
when
he lost
Cena
his
won?
first match back.
Cena in the Extreme Rules match.
Yeah.
What did Cena do at Backlash that year?
Backlash.
There was no Backlash, it was
the
Extreme
Backlash.
Rules.
Sorry, it was Extreme Rules. Yeah,
Extreme
yeah.
Rules was the post.
Yeah,
pay-per-view.
Extreme Rules. There's a lot of comparisons to that match, but I don't think it had any of those elements, and they went out the window. Final grade for that match, I'd have to give, for what it is and what they're going to, I really want to give it a 4. I can't. I'll give it a 3.5. I don't think anything was wrong. Oh no, you know what? I'll give the match a 4. I'll give the match. I think it was well done. It was well done for what it is, and you really have to look at the objective there. And if they do the objective well, and the ring work was great, the drama was there, the blood. You had Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania Backlash in Puerto Rico. If somebody had told you that 2 years ago, you would have said, "What are you smoking?" So I'll give it a 4.
Yeah.
4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. I think 4 is probably a pretty solid rating you could give it. The match was probably the perfect length as well, especially considering it's the main event. I'm probably running a bit out of time. So I think.
Oh, there was that. Sorry, John, but yeah, there was that. Not so much a rumor, but were they running out of time? I don't think they were. They can with the
there was
network.
enough
They
time.
can. There's no TV producers or pay-per-view providers they have to answer to.
I don't know.
No, but
I think people just
there was...
shook by the finish. They were shook by the finish.
They've got their live channels now. They've got everything. So like,
I don't
going
think-
over wouldn't be an issue.
No, even then, I think there was plenty of time left on the... If it was that 3-hour stream, because
And
they had
then-
plenty of time for Cena, Lesnar to wipe his face full of the blood.
Yeah,
get
they-
that shot.
Let's
Well,
not forget.
that's-
Let's
yeah.
not forget the after credits with the recap and everything. They can time it however they want.
Of course.
Yeah, so like I thought they probably could have added maybe a couple more minutes to the match, but what was it? It was about a 10-minute match.
Yeah, it was just under. I'll double check.
I think like if it was it's about 10 minutes, I think that's probably a good way to cap it.
It was
off.
9 minutes 40 minutes. 9 minutes 40 seconds.
That's probably a good way to cap it off.
Yeah.
Couldn't really ask for more.
Yeah, the match was done right. Cody still got the win, which is good. It stopped him from his story, or finishing his story, to say. What do you call? He won it the right way, not the other way, where he could
Not convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brock did his thing as usual, and everything was done right. Yeah, I'll give it it's in between. I'll say 3.75 out of the 5.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Go for
Yeah. I don't know if you guys You got
You're going to give it the Meltzer 7, aren't you?
two of the biggest, apart from Rollins and Roman, the two biggest stars in the company and probably in the business at the moment. It's the drama they added, the blood. It was a great brawl. Cody showed his cards, came out firing. Lesnar handled the fire Cody gave him. Lesnar got his romp in. Cody fought back. No one overdid their finishes. I have to give it a 4.5. Equally best match of the night with the San Juan Puerto Rico match.
Yeah. I couldn't live with myself if I gave that 3.5 in the end. If I gave it a 4, I got no problem with giving it a 4.5.
Equally for me, the best match of the night.
Yeah.
Mega stars doing their job.
Yeah, it was done perfectly well.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with that.
I think Lesnar at the moment is the best opponent for Cody to hold him off until SummerSlam and then
Comes
see
back to SummerSlam. Yeah.
have the third match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Lesnar will beat him at Saudi.
Yeah.
Has to go 1-1 into SummerSlam.
I don't know what they
We haven't had that in a while, though. The 1-1 and then...
I know.
What was the
Break,
last time we thought we were going to have that? 05
Huh?
Hogan and Shawn. We thought we were going to have that back then.
Well, it's taken him 2.5 hours.
Oh, but the second match has already been announced. But the last triple threat or triple match decider, or wasn't even decider, was the two Bobby versus Brock matches.
Yeah.
Where Bobby won, and then Lesnar
Well-
got his last laugh at the Rumble, I think.
Well,
it
Bray
was.
Wyatt
and then
kind of put that to bed.
Yeah, and he goes, whoever wins this match, I'm coming after you, but then he never ended up coming after him. So.
Do you give your ratings?
Yeah.
The ratings, good. Yeah, I think they haven't put a foot wrong yet. They might have disappointed with a lot of people in Los Angeles at WrestleMania last month, but they haven't put a foot wrong yet. And I dare say, I know they're not big on bringing up the number 40, but if we get Cody beat Roman at WrestleMania 40 and it's been done right, there's been almost 18 months of build-up. I think we'll
They've done
happily.
something right.
I think we'll happily take what happened last month.
Yeah.
And we'll look back on it and say it was for the greater good.
Yeah. I think results aside from Mania, I put complete trust in the Triple H era.
Yeah.
We always question it beforehand to say, well, what's he doing here? What are they doing here? Or why are they doing this? But when it comes to crunch time, Triple H and...
He's delivered every time.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly, he's delivered.
Like I said, they haven't put a step wrong with any pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
on paper, they've been
Especially-
amazing.
Especially overall with Backlash, like everything what needed to be done at Backlash
that's
had
a
to be
thing.
done.
It's been a thing.
Even with the finishing with Usos and Sammy KO, Ripley getting her dominance but still having a
Yeah.
good match. Bad Bunny selling the night. What else was there? The triple threat, quick, impactful. It's making Theory look weak but smart at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? What other
Almost
matches?
Seth.
Omos and Seth. Omos is getting that push that he needs.
Yeah.
Overall, this show was very good, especially for a pay-per-view after Mania.
Which has a great track record of not being good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Usually just throwaway rematches with no changing result.
exactly.
Well, the good ones have been arguably the
what
best pay-per-views.
what was the last best pay-per-view after Mania? In
I
your
dare say
opinion?
Backlash 2009, where Randy Orton took the title back off
Triple H.
Triple H. You have the
Edge
Hardy's
beat
IQ.
Cena.
Yeah, Edge beat Cena. You have the Hardy's IQ.
There's no IQ there.
I quit match. Well, maybe there were a few, but they were compromised.
Loser gets a DOY.
Maybe I'm going back here. Backlash 2000.
Oh, that's not a maybe. That's arguable.
Like,
No,
but I
that's not
can't
a
think
maybe.
of anything in
That's-
the last
no,
23
What
years.
about the Backlash after 20? Benoit, Shawn, and Triple
That
H.
was a
went
great
When
back?
they threw it back?
Yeah, that was
was
enough.
good.
That was,
Edge had Edge come back at that point.
No,
No,
he
it's
came back at Vengeance.
Just a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
That was
He
great.
got
But I
drafted
think
the night
2009 and 20, 2009 and 2000, 2000, because once again, and why did we get such a great pay-per-view in 2000? And what did I keep referencing? The main event at WrestleMania 16, where it left a very sour taste in a lot of people's mouth.
The Rock not winning.
Rock, Mick Foley, and they blame Mick Foley a lot. Well, they blame Vince. They said Vince wanted Mick to have a WrestleMania main event, and I'm like, all right, out of all those main events,
Out of the Fatal 4-Way. It was originally supposed to be Chris Jericho.
Instead of Foley?
Yeah.
Yeah, Foley was supposed to be a triple threat in WrestleMania 15. But then they lodged for it to be a one-on-one.
Yeah. They were trying to get Foley in anyway.
They wanted Jericho, but somebody...
Jericho pissed someone off.
Jericho pissed somebody off and they took me out because if you look at the original
The typical young
poster,
people on the roster, yeah.
yeah, if you look at the original poster, it's got the 3 guys plus Jericho instead of Mick Foley. It's only on the video, whatever advertised after, is the Foley one. Yeah.
So if we're going to give a final grade to the pay-per-view, boys, I'll give it. I'll kick off.
I'll give
Grade
it
or rating?
I'll give it a solid 4 out of 5, the whole pay-per-view in general.
Rating?
Yeah, I meant more of probably a letter. A letter? Give it a letter. A
letter?
B, C, D.
A minus.
Yeah, A minus. John?
Yeah, I'd agree with A minus.
Yeah.
A.
Archie. Yeah,
Solid A.
I've got no problem giving it an A.
Yeah.
I mean, A plus is generally seen as
No, but that's a bit...
perfect, but
with no big title change, you can't give it a
But
A+.
for what it is, this pay-per-view was about for what it was and what they wanted. They smacked it out of the park. No answers.
It had its purpose.
No
and it
questions.
did it.
And
It nailed it.
No answers needed. It was a solid A for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Cam?
Yeah, besides that, that's the end of Backlash. But we can just have a quick talk about what happened on Raw.
Yeah, sure.
yesterday.
Yeah, quickly.
Just so we can have everyone recapped and then
So obviously we
continue on
know
for next week.
Yes, obviously no. Brock and Cody will be going to Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Brock attacked Cody in the triple threat match, the first triple threat match. Had to kick off the night, or was it the second? The
First
second.
one.
First one.
First one.
Cody kicked off, but the first match was Seth, Finn, and...
Yeah, it wasn't the first match. Yeah, Cody kicked off, but it wasn't the first match. It was the
Seth,
second match.
Finn, and... No. Shinsuke, Seth, and Miz. Sorry.
Yeah. That was the first triple threat match.
No.
No, Cody was the first
Damien,
match.
Biz
Seth,
was with
and
Cody.
Shinsuke.
Biz was with Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Miz, Cody, and
Miz, Cody, and...
Who was it that?
No.
no.
Bella.
Bella.
No,
Yes,
no.
yeah.
The first one was Seth,
Shinsuke, Damian Priest.
Damian Priest.
Second one
And there was Miz, Balor, and Cody.
Cody,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
So the first match we had Seth win, and the
Yep,
second match we
which-
had Finn win.
Yep,
Yes.
that was expected.
So now we know we've got Finn, and then Seth went on to win
The main event.
Main event.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I didn't actually know we were getting that second match. I thought it might have been next week, but we got that. And then in the meantime, in that second match, Brock attacked Cody, which has set up a
Match.
challenge at Saudi Arabia at Clash of Champions.
Yep, he's challenged him to a fight specifically. He just said a
Yep.
But, we got the return of Becky Lynch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trish Stratus pulled a Shawn
lost some
Montreal 2005.
Becky's lost even ball
Yeah,
weight. Nothing got already ball.
she might have been injured.
Yeah.
She might have been injured.
Yeah,
We
must-
got Trish Stratus with a wink to what happened with Shawn and Bret Hart's theme music at Montreal in
Yeah.
2005. And
I
then
saw
when it
that.
happened,
And Hulk Hogan.
then when it happened the
Okay.
second time, yeah. And then when it happened the second time, we're like, oh, she's going to get us again, like Shawn got
Shawn
us
did
again.
it. Yeah.
And then it was like, and I thought she done well. And one thing I'll say about Trish Stratus is
She's cutting promos better than most of the
this
division.
is the worst thing about it. It's like,
04 Trish.
That's
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but the
probably
heel work in
even
04 was great
even
on the
better.
mic.
And this is the worst thing about this all. It's like, where have you been the last 20 years? The last 15 years? Like, where have you been? Like, it's so good.
Doing yoga classes and getting married and having 2 kids or whatever, how many there is.
Yeah, she is. Is she single?
No, married.
No, she's
No.
married.
She's married.
I wonder if her sister's single.
Who's her sister? Well, Natalia's sister.
Speaking of
she's
Natalia,
so-
Natalia made a return, confronting Rhea
Yes.
after Dana Brooke got squashed.
Walking ever so slowly to the ring while Dana Brooke is in brutal pain.
It's equivalent
prison
to
walk.
Jeff Hardy
Yes.
dancing down AEW.
You got to put that in there. Trying to forget that.
Zoe Stark had a solid debut.
Yep. She's got star potential.
I feel like she'll probably get a quick push.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think she'll win the title in the first year so far, but
I
She'll
see
look- she'll
maybe
look strong.
her and Bianca.
it could
They'll have a
potentially
great
be.
match when they finally meet each other.
Yeah.
Even if she loses.
And Zoe has a killer finisher too.
Yes, yeah.
What other matches happened that night? We had Imperium versus Sammy versus KO, which is the start of a new rivalry.
Fresh.
That was cool.
Good to see Imperium not just be like the muscle for Gunther.
Yep,
Yep.
they came and did their own.
They also announced Gunther returning next week from his honeymoon
Awesome.
because he got married
Did we have
last week.
almost?
No?
Almost wasn't on Raw, no.
Let me have almost.
overall, I'm trying to think. Did I miss anything else besides seeing Cody 5 times?
Oh, we
throughout
had
the whole show?
the Dominic and Ray.
Dominic versus. No.
Wrong guy.
Actually, we had Otis versus Mustafa Ali, and Mustafa Ali won. Your favorite person?
Yeah, I think he's won 2 out of his last 100.
Yeah.
He's on
No,
a
we
hot
had
streak.
Dominic versus a guy he ran into backstage.
Xavier Woods.
Yes.
Sorry,
Xavier
Xavier
Woods.
Woods.
He's treading water until Big E comes back.
And we
If
had
he comes back, that's
and
the
Kofi.
big if.
and we had Otis.
And Ali.
Oh, sorry, Ali. Ali
Yeah.
went over Otis.
Yeah.
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 We
We
got that
had
in there with Chad
the
Gabriel. Yeah.
we had the backstage segment of the Way reuniting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good to see that, and I think they're either hinting at either
Ciampa.
or Austin Theory, but he's on SmackDown.
Yeah, it's,
so I'm
it's
leaning-
most likely Ciampa because given the time frame that when they announced his back surgery or whatever he had.
because he did.
Was it a back surgery? No, that was
Shoulder.
no, that was
Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode and Orton.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's a good start to first drafted
it.
roster.
I like it.
Yep.
As long as they stick with it.
Yeah.
Solid
Slowly
show.
building the matches up. Gonna get Seth versus someone, Cody versus Lesnar.
I think we got. My early prediction is AJ Styles.
Versus Seth.
Yeah,
I'll tear their house down.
amazing.
Have they ever had a one-on-one match properly?
As on WWE, I'm pretty sure no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe did the Shield ever feud with the OC? I
No.
don't think they did.
No.
No, they never did.
They never crossed paths.
No, OC was after.
But I'm pretty sure they've had like 3 or 4 incarnations of them.
Yes.
Like they never somehow crossed paths.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they never got
So did
involved.
the Shield.
Yeah.
They had 3 or 4 incarnations.
Yep, upcoming for SmackDown, we're going to have the 2 triple threat matches.
Awesome.
Plus the winners of the 2 to announce whoever Seth's going to verse.
And the return of Roman.
Right.
The return of Roman, correct.
That's all eyes
And
on
we're
Saturday.
going to see what he's going to do with the Usos.
Yeah.
We're going to see if he's disappointed with them
Yeah.
or not. And we're going to see what happens with Solo
Yep. And Cameron Grimes will be having his debut.
against Baron Corbin.
Yeah. I think that's all that's been announced so far.
Him and Fury will be a great mid-card title feud.
Yeah.
Speaking of Corbin, what's happening with him? I do not know.
Oh, God, I
It's
don't
a
know.
shame.
After what happened in 2017, I lost all hope when he failed that Money in the Bank cash in.
The killer for me is he's still the last person to pin Roman Reigns clean.
Yeah.
That's
Says
killing me inside.
Like, can somebody just pin Roman already so we don't have to think about Baron Corbin being the last
Well,
bloke? to pin
I read
Roman?
in an online interview where he actually wants to bring back all his gimmicks merged into one. So like maybe like the Lone Wolf, but
Happy
Happy-
Lone Wolf.
yeah.
The happy
Oh, I don't know about
the happy broke Lone Wolf.
I don't know.
yeah, King Happy Wolf.
Happy Wolf.
I think we just need to see the Lone Wolf return, just straight up Lone Wolf.
Yeah, that NXT run.
Well,
was
he's
unmatched.
undrafted, so he'll be on both shows at
Yeah.
the moment.
I feel like the
What
gimmick
was the
of
criteria? Sorry. What was the criteria to be undrafted?
Nothing. He just didn't get selected.
Just didn't get
Only
selected.
only a select few were able to choose, like Omos and Lesnar.
yeah.
The rest, which is not many to choose from, just didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
But even then, they didn't even announce. Did they even announce Natalia getting drafted or anything?
No.
Natalia, no.
Or Dana? Why is it every time there's a draft around, Dana Brooke appears on main roster? She hasn't been seen since the loss of the 24/7 title.
Yeah, well, no, they
She's still married to
Baptista.
who was she? Was it her? She was in that gimmick.
Oh, you're talking about the 24/7 title with the whole Tamina, Dana,
Tamina and
Akira?
Tozawa and R-Truth was it? And Dana Brooke.
Maybe.
Our truth was with Carmella for the 24.
Yeah, but they did the 2 weddings at the same
I
time.
can't
Yeah.
remember.
This is when it was getting really bad with that
Yeah.
title.
It's about time they dropped it, but yeah, they could have made it better, that whole 24/7 story.
Yeah, I think calling it the 24/7 title just put the nail in it from the start.
Yeah.
Just too long of a word, doesn't make sense. Yeah.
And I think time to wrap it up because I
Yeah.
think we've hit the 2-hour mark now.
Oh wow, that flew past. That flew past.
So I think we'll be planning on doing this, or we'll try to be doing our recordings every Wednesday. We'll try to bring in more ideas, maybe a quiz each week on top of with the weekly shows on top.
Bit of fantasy booking.
Fantasy booking or
Yes.
tipping competition. We'll figure it out as we go.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah, enjoy the word. See how we
Watch
go.
us finish
Enjoy
the
the
story.
ride, Teddy.
Besides that, I'll try to upload this onto YouTube.
Where to, FT?
And I'll announce our first. Oh, and try.
Is that going on YouTube?
I hope that makes the cut and he listens to it.
Where to, F. Timmy? Fuck, sorry, Kim.
Actually, you
No,
spoke,
that's fine.
you spoke about fantasy booking. There's only one option. We need Vince McMahon to be the number 30 entrant in next year's Royal
As
Rumble.
as if this guy's going to start talking about Chris Patolo and Max King and Franklin Pele yet.
Oh, don't get me started, Joe.
Then we have to add another thing to our name: hookers and headlocks, and I don't know.
And highlights.
No,
Wait, hookers, headlocks, and headgear.
Yeah, we'll bring Farid in every
no,
week.
it has to start with H. Hookers and headlocks and hip drops.
Oh my. And HIAs.
And Harringtons. All right, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
We'll be
guys.
back on.
Take care of
We'll be
yourselves.
recording again on Wednesday, and we'll be uploading this on YouTube. And I don't know. I'll have to figure out another podcast.
Spotify. OnlyFans.
Audible.
Yeah, subscribe to
Is it going on
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans?
Only hams.
Only cams.
Only cams.
Only cams.
Only
cams.
Bimel
Rock
hams.
band cam.
Only Bimel hams.
Eating some spam.
You can pay money to watch John Smokey's Headgear.
Alrighty.
Oh, please, everybody should be.
Yep. Alright. Always. And have a good night.
Thank you,
and we'll
guys.
see
Take
you
care
all
of
next
yourselves.
Thank
week.
you guys. Take it easy.
See you.
Don't be rude, Archie. Say bye.
See you guys. Take care.
Bye-bye, butters.
Don't forget to
Bye-bye.
like and subscribe.
And comment.
Like, share, comment, subscribe, steal your parents' credit card, whatever you're going to do, please. I'm struggling out here, man.